Yes, people. Big up, people. Bless up to everyone. Hope everyone's doing well this evening. How you doing? Please make sure that you can let me know if you can hear me. Is what I'm trying to say. Put a one in the chat, or just let me know that the sound is coming through all good and all clear. Hope everyone is doing well. See a few people in the chat already. Please make sure that you like the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you are new. So let me issue out my greetings to everybody before we get into this topic. Aaron B, welcome. What's up, bro? Hope you're doing well this evening. Skills Man Reloaded, as always, coming through. Remember to get the likes up, people. Yeah, don't worry about it. We're gonna get into this topic today. We're gonna get into this topic because, yeah, there's, bro. I'm telling you, man, there's so much to deep about this topic. It's unreal, and there's so much to unpack and unravel about this, and so many things. It's, bro, it's crazy. It's crazy. Manchester boy, big up to yourself. Hope you're doing well. Hope everything's all well. Space Cowboy. Well, this is really it. This is really it. This is really it. It's bro, I'm telling you, and let me start off by saying this. What's going on so right now? I mean, the policies that have been going on and everything that's going on with the pound. The pound has dropped like an all-time low against the dollar for a long time. Against the euro, it's pretty much, it's almost like 1 to 1. It's like, was it £1 for every $1.09, something crazy like that? The euro is like £1 for every 1.13 euro, I think, something like that. But again, it's going to fluctuate, and the Bank of England had to intervene, something that, we didn't even, no one thought was going to happen. But given the policies, everyone's going absolutely getting panicked. And here's the thing, so they should be. And this ain't gonna be a stream where I'm gonna say this just to preface. Criticizing Kwasi about his policies is fair game. Absolutely fair games. But what seems to be so interesting is what isn't fair game that's coming to the fore right now. And I want to unravel as to why that is and what that really means, at least from my perspective, and how it seems to be. Bro, it's all, I don't know what it is, but we always seem to be targeted, or certain men are seen to be targeted. So I'll say that, but I'm just gonna say what's up to a couple more people, then I'll get into it. Fiona, good night. Hope you're doing well. KB, good evening, good evening, good evening. Hope you're doing well, bro. Hope you and the family's doing well. Now, so the topic, if you don't already know, if you're living under a rock, I mean, listen, Quasi's been everywhere about anything and everything. So everything that he's been doing, whether it be about him himself, definitely his policies have been under the firing line. Now, this particular comment was made by a Labour MP, in which she made some very defamatory remarks about who he is as a person. And I'm going to play the clip right now, and then I'm going to start this. So let me just play the clip. Again, please let me know if you can hear it on your side. It's a short clip, but I'm just going to play it. So here we go.
I'm sorry if I was not making myself understood clearly. He's superficially, he's a black man, but again, he's got more in common. If you look at again, it's that Joe Cox thing, more in common. If you look at the character, he went to Eton, I think he went to very expensive prep school, all the way through the top schools in the country. If you hear him on the Today programme, you wouldn't know he's black.
Just gonna play that one more time, just one more time, just so that you hear it again, start to finish, one more time.
No, I'm sorry if I was not making myself understood clearly. He's superficially, he's a black man, but again, he's got more in common. If you look at again, it's that Joe Cox thing, more in common. If you look at the character, he went to Eton, I think he went to very expensive prep school, all the way through the top schools in the country. If you hear him on the Today programme, you wouldn't know he's black.
Right, so you all heard that for the second time, I hope. So then, what is being said now, by the way, the Labour MP here, she has been, I think she's been at least suspended right now. I assume she'll be either sacked or whatever the policy is. So she's been suspended by Sir Keir Starmer. So the Labour Party have definitely suspended her, rightfully so, for the comments. And the most funniest thing about that clip when I first saw it, she even like clarified. She had to be crystal clear as to what she was saying, and she didn't back down on it. She was like this: he's superficially a black man. So let's just unpick a few things here, because for me, there's so much things in this which I kind of want to get your thoughts. I'm going to open up the chat soon because I kind of want to get your thoughts on a few things, because I don't really want to talk about whether what she said is right or wrong, because off the bat we know it's wrong. What I kind of want to talk about is what this really means from a few standpoints, and let me explain. Because this isn't the first time that I've heard this before coming from. I mean, think about it. We all have our conversations in house about, you know, what it means to be black and all that kind of other stuff. But this isn't the first time. This ain't the first time that we've heard this before coming from outsiders. I'm gonna play this clip and then I'm gonna get into really want to get into how I'm gonna start it. So I'm just gonna play this bit because people think automatically, oh, you know, he's a conservative and it's because he's this and it's the left, therefore they're the ones who are the true thing. So I just want to get that completely out of the equation right now. I really want to do because I want to share this, and this is not by a someone from the left. A long time ago, you know, or you should know who this guy is. So this is about the 2011 riots. So this was a good decade ago.
And that's not true. What's happened is black culture. This is the enormously important thing. It's not skin color, it's cultural. Listen to David Lammy, an archetypical successful black man. If you turn the screen off, so you were listening to him on radio, you'd think he was white. You know,
right. So I just wanted to play that one. I really wanted to play that one because I just wanted to get that off the bat there. Hope you all heard that. But that was David Starkey. Now, he is a conservative. Now, he's not in parliament, so that is different. I agree. But what I'm trying to say is this has not got anything to do with left or right. This is a reoccurring theme that I really want to get into. I mean, the first thing I need to understand is this. Isn't it always funny how, for some odd reason, and the first one, the Labour MP, the worst thing about it, or I should say the worst thing about it, but I know certain people don't see it this way, but this is an Asian, another ethnic minority who's trying to police how a black person should be. So the first thing she kind of attacks him on is the fact of, just like David Starkey, if you heard, she said, he doesn't sound like a black guy. I'm going to get into that in a second, or I really want to talk about that. But then the next thing, and this ties in what David Stark was saying about black culture, and this is really how, again, if you didn't already know this, this is where a lot of these things just, when you deep it, it just sounds, it's ridiculous. Black culture. Now, what does he mean by black culture when David Starkey says it, and how do I tie that into what the Labour MP said? Because the Labour MP was saying he went to Eton educated, he went for a private program, he did this, he did that. What is she trying to say? She's trying to say he had, a more white culture upbringing, which is, you know, good. She didn't even mention that he went to he's a upper class. He never said that. She never said that. She basically, like David Starkey, was equating black culture with everything negative, and then everything positive, he sounds like a white guy. So it's just like when you really listen to it, and again, I'm sure you guys will all know about, you guys have probably heard this crap before, but it's just like when you really deep a lot of the things that's going on, and how culturally this is the kind of, what's the word? Because let's be honest, just because the Labour MP was stupid enough to say it, I don't think she's the only person who thinks this, again, on the left or the right. I know a lot of people have come out and rightly so have condemned what she said, and you know how all the woke culture wars conservatives jump on that, even though the conservatives are doing what they're doing. Fine. But I kind of really wanted to start here about how is it? Why is it? What is there something in this? Is there something in this which screams he gives off white culture? Now, of course, I have to preface by saying this. Being educated is not a white thing. Being highly educated is not a white thing. Going to the top schools is not a white thing. But what is it? Is there something in this deeper than this, than just saying, oh, it's just trying to be racist? In which, let's be honest, somebody on the right said it, somebody on the left said it. And I'm trying to just understand, because let's be honest, Rishi Sunak, I gave another example. This is where I really wanted to get into it. Rishi Sunak, I've said this before and I maintain this. If you turn off, if you're watching him on TV, if you turn off the video, but listen to the sound, he sounds like Ed Miliband. He's a white guy. He sounds like a stereotypical, you would argue, upper-class white guy. But how is it he does not get that type of criticism? Why does Kwasi get that criticism? Why did David Lammy get that criticism? What is going on there? Is there something? Now, again, All those who are thinking, oh, what are you trying to say? Look, I'll say this. What is it about? Is there something in this? What does it really actually mean? Are they trying to say that black culture is all negative? Probably. And white culture is meant to be all positive or whatever? Possibly too. But I just I, I don't know if it's coming across well. I don't know if you can understand what I'm trying to say. But I'm just like, when I was deep in that, when I looked at some of the posts trending about Kwasi Kwarteng, it's just like there's so many things in this which just kind of just it reaffirms a couple of things as well about certain stereotypes that have been pervasive about black people, black culture, and how these comments all tie into it. That we're trying to assimilate into white culture by trying to speak like white people, yes, date white women, be in white people's clubs, be in their schools. And another thing as well, in regards to speaking their language, because this is another thing which, when I was researching a few things, and this is really where I want to get your viewpoints on this about cultural identity. And this is where I think a lot of us, especially first generation, um, first generation ones who come from the African and Caribbean, I'll say this: is there a cultural situation going on here where we're trying to fit in, but fitting in has meant that, you know what, we've actually tried to assimilate into another culture? Because when I look at Asians, for example, because I have to compare us to Asians a little bit, and this is what I just want to. This is an open question. There isn't any right or wrong on this. I'm not saying anything. I just want to open up the question and open up the dialogue about this, because Caribbeans face this when the first generation Caribbeans after the Windrush about identity, because their parents didn't want them to, fit out. They want them to fit in. Makes sense, right? You wanted to make sure that you're in England, you speak the language, as what do they say? As in Rome, do as the Romans do. But has there been a negative effect on that where we have now lost some of our cultural identity where, let's be honest, we can say certain things to each other, but we've allowed outsiders to say that shit to us? But you know what? Once I get past the fury, once I get past all that bullshit that they said, once I get past all that, yo, why are you being racist for? I didn't have to ask a serious question. If a white person said it and an Asian person said it, is there something deeper going on culturally which needs to be just added? And I'm just gonna read this before I open up the panel, because I'm gonna open up the panel. Okay, and I don't want to talk too long because I'm just conscious of this is gonna be a hotly contested topic, and we can go round and round and round. I just want to read this, okay? And again, I just want to preface this: whatever you do does not denote whether you're black or not. I mean, it's obvious in terms of what school you go to. Education is not a black or white thing. Going to top schools is not a white thing. So I want to make sure that I've on record perfectly clear for all those who are new coming in. Him going to Eton, him going to Cambridge, him studying what he's studying, that does not make him white. I just want to share this. All right. So this is a week in the life of Kwasi Kwarteng. And what I'm trying to do is paint a picture of how probably outsiders see it. And again, we'll get into it anyway, but let's read this. So a British member of parliament offer watches ministers singing karaoke, visits the House of Lords, and take Arabic lessons. What do you do? People often ask, even after 5 years. It feels strange to say that I'm a member of parliament. When I said I was a banker, as I was before entering parliament, I always got the same mildly hostile response. Being an MP seems to elicit even worse ones. Attended a party in the Palace of Westminster to celebrate the birthday of the Deputy Leader of the House of Commons. A fun evening with many fellow MPs, although some of the karaoke singing left a lot to be desired. Chancellor of the Exchequer George Osborne performed the duet with my good friend Elizabeth Trust, who now serves as Environment Secretary, foreshadowing things to come. I think they sang Madonna, but the songs all blow into each other. Liz and I both turned 40 recently, so we know all the cheesy 80 hits. Sunday lunchtime, a reasonably warm day in my constituency, Northern Surrey. I think that's a highly white populated area, but it is what it is. I planted a tree in memory of Leah Slade, a 13-year-old killed in a traffic accident here almost a year ago. Her best friend, Jamie, got in touch with me earlier this year to ask if she could arrange something to commemorate Leah's life. We held a short but an informal but moving ceremony, a tribute, I hope, to Leah's short life. I had dinner with my mother, now 71, in North London. She said she wanted to spend a few weeks in her native Ghana over the winter. She came to Britain in 1964. Originally, she told me she wanted to visit Britain as a tourist and see all the sites related to the empire and the slave trade. She now wants to re-engage with the history of the country of her birth. Now, I just want to stop right here a second. So check this out. So originally, she told me she wanted to visit Britain as a tourist and see everything relating to the slave trade. She now this is at 71, wants to re-engage with the history of the country of her birth. Now, I don't know whether this is a things of to come when it comes to how she raised Kwasi in terms of relationship with Ghana and the history of Ghana and things of that nature at all. Again, I don't know. I'm purely speculating. But the fact that she now wants to re-engage with the history of the country of her birth means that there's a massive gap missing there. Which, if there's a gap missing there, what kind of things were taught to him, or how much does he know about his own country, and how much does he, I suppose, culturally identify with his country? Again, I don't know. It is what it is. But I just wanted to just highlight that little bit there. And it reads, and it goes on to read and says, a big consideration, I suppose, is the weather. My phone tells me yeah. Where they get interesting. All right, cool. Let's forget all this nonsense. But here it goes. Okay, so I have my weekly Arabic lessons with Ali. So we speak learning Arabic, an Iraqi refugee at the Royal Festival Hall, just across the river from Parliament. I would say he's about 32, living in London for 12 years, having fled Iraq just before the 2003 US-led invasion. Ali has terrible memories of Saddam Hussein's rule and tells me in simple Arabic how many of his friends were arrested and executed under that brutal regime. I understand barely half of what Ali says, despite 4 years of studying Arabic. I've always liked trying to learn languages, probably derived from the fact that my parents as immigrants from Ghana spoke Twi in the house when I was growing up. Arabic seems more useful for international policy these days than Twi, which is spoken by only about 7 million people. And again, on this, I'm pretty sure when I look this up, I don't think he even speaks Twi. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, people, but I don't know. I don't know whether this comment speaks anything out to people at all. Of course, factually, he's correct. Arabic is definitely spoken by a lot more people, so it would make sense to learn Arabic. But the way how it kind of it seems a bit more dismissive of his native tongue or his mother's and father's native tongue, I don't know. It seemed a little bit just iffy. Now, again, I'm not saying anything about what his home life was like, how he identifies. I've got no idea. I'll say he's definitely probably proud Ghanaian. I mean, at the end of the day, what do you want me to do? Wear a full Ghanaian robe into Parliament? I get that would get people talking. But all I want to do is just ask the question about when Labour MP said he's superficially black. I want to just move past the rage because again, that's bullshit. I have to say this again. That is complete bullshit. He's a black man. I mean, what do you want black men to do? Black people do all kinds of things with their lives. They can learn whatever language they want to do. Me personally, I always wanted to speak French. That make me less black? Fuck no. But I just wanted to understand, is there something deeper in there that even we ourselves are missing? Because there is something here in which, I don't know, where are we trying to fit in too much that we lose the cultural sort of identity which makes us black? I don't know if I'm explaining that right. I don't know if people understand what I mean. Not in a disrespectful way, not in a horrible way, but I'm just trying to understand that. Julia, what's up?
Yo, just get my high quality headphones on. Hold on. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
It's a little bit low. But
that's good, man. Bro, how's life, man?
Yeah, man, life's good, man. I've been away a little bit and then come back to this. I was like, great. Great.
That's good, man. That's good, man. Good brother. Good brother.
Right, so let me start off by saying this then. Do you agree with the statement that the Labour MP said about Kwasi Kwarteng?
Obviously, she's not us, so it shouldn't give her the right to decide what is and what is not us when she is not one of us. That's the only disagreement I have with her. But her point, I can understand what she's saying. She probably didn't go as far to say, look at his wife, look at his kids, look at his ex, look at his hair. I don't think he's gone to a black barber's in a while. We don't know if he does or he does not. That's a red flag for me right there. Yeah, and look at his schools, and he probably was the only one in a class or in the school for a very long period of time in his youth. And he's a black conservative. I don't see many black guys. I don't agree mixed as black in the conservative front bench. He's the only one I can see, and he's carried that through to his adult life, being the token, not as in token as in unqualified, but like in South Park, he was the only one besides his family, and there you go. So now,
are those things combined? Because I've said this, him going to Eton doesn't make him less black. You know what I mean? It's like him going to a high. If he's smart, then go to Oxford, go to Cambridge. That's what I say. So is there something in particular that for you stands out as to why you'll be called superficially black that other groups, other ethnic minority groups can point it out in our face?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things. I think it's from his partner to his dating choices to the mother of his child to the fact that he seems to be championing Britannia Unchained and all these jingoistic, hyper British, extremely nationalistic talking points, and as a result, I don't blame him for saying, well, why is he not representing West Africa in any way when both of his parents are from the same African country, both high status Africans, by the way, and he may or may not speak Twi, but it doesn't sound like he does. He doesn't really talk about Ghana much. He hasn't seemed to champion Ghana in any way. He doesn't seem to want to improve the condition of Ghana in any way. I've never seen him go to any inner city events or any sort of inner city anything to help out other people who are of African descent, who, just like him, were born in London with African parents. I've never seen him do that, right? And he doesn't seem to want to do that. So at the end of the day, I do not blame her for wondering, going, hold on, wait a second. What's going on with this guy? Especially when you compare that to her background. She was born in London as well, to immigrant parents. She speaks 2 South Asian languages, as well as French and English. And she married a guy who looks exactly like her and her father. So at the end of the day, I don't blame her for saying, well, what's going on here then? And she went to Cambridge as well, by the way.
Right. Okay. I want to get to Falcon's point in a second, but let me get KB Jones in there because so many things to go for. KB Jones, welcome, bro. How's it going?
Good evening, Wim. How you doing? Wim, it's also weird calling you that. White matters, Wim. Good evening, bro.
Yeah, evening, bro.
Evening. Am I clear? Yeah.
No, you're perfectly clear, bro. So obvious question. I know the answer but do you agree with what the Labour MP said about him being superficially black?
Wait, this is a good one for me, bro. You know how I feel about them people, right?
I know. I was like, oh, I know.
Right, listen, right. I've got a few pointers here, so buckle up, guys. Yeah. Right. First of all, yeah, I think this is going to sound strange coming from me, but I think this is brilliant. This has happened. Why I'm saying this is because I'm hoping things like this will start to open our community's eyes on a whole. Let me expand, okay? Because I've, for the longest, have said, first of all, I don't subscribe to this BAME, people of color, black, brown rubbish, yeah? I don't subscribe to it because, do you know what, right? When there's this whole not white thing, and then there's this anti-black thing, which is separate. Now, I agree what you've just saying, Zula, in terms of Kwasi and me being a British Ghanaian as well. So you can imagine, like, on a personal note, I've got quite strong feelings about this, even though I've not said anything. He doesn't really represent, especially from a West African, let's say personally, a Ghanaian point of view, especially being in the position he's in and the spotlight he's got and the platform he's got. I actually agree with that. But you know what? I think that's an internal thing for us to have to deal with. That should be a black community conversation, hence now. I, myself, and I think every single black person, I don't care if you're Ghanaian or not, I don't care if you're conservative, Labour or not, I don't care if you're left, right wing, I don't care if you're liberal or you're not. You should be offended by what she said, yeah? Not angry, offended, and see it for what it is. Because, right, and I think someone said it in the comments, for all the negative tropes, and let's not get this twisted. This whole thing is not targeted towards black people or mass, even though they may put it on the guise of black people. This is towards black men specifically, okay? And black men come under teenage boys and up because they class them as black men as well. Don't get it twisted. For all the negative stereotypes, we just been talking about things like carnival and all these negative things. There's been a few negative things this summer we've all had conversations about on each other's channels that we're showing, we're representing our image. We had a whole stream on image. Let me tell you something, and those of you that have worked in corporate or that have worked in not even like a necessarily a city, but like, for example, like yourself, when you're from Notts, right? So anyone that's worked in like a big city that's got like a central city corporate environment, if you notice, right, and I've had this myself, for all the stereotypes and for all the people that think we're going to do them stuff, I'm talking about your average, everyday, normal working man, working class, even middle class, and so on. You would think, right, and I used to think this, and I've said this many times, I grew up in the ends, the hood, wherever everybody's come from. So I grew up in one place, and I tried to pull myself out of it when I went to my education, work, etc., to try and be better and different, because that's what I was told. I realized very quickly that when you even look the part on the opposite end of the spectrum, when you don't look the stereotype, they get even more threatened. That threatens them. Do you know what? It's almost better that they think we're going to rob them than they see a successful black man. Because I said this before, black or successful looking black men, or not even successful looking, just well-to-do or just striving every day, because they feel like we can't even do it on a standard basis, let alone on a higher level. We've only got two options: either they can't stand us, or they get this animalistic urge, sexual urge towards us. There's no middle ground. And forget the sexual bit, because that's nothing to do with this. But what the main problem here is, who is she to say he's not being stereotypically black? But if he was being stereotypically black, what would they be saying? There you go. There's them again. Now someone's breaking the status quo just off image, because she did mention his policies. I haven't seen the whole interview, press conference, I must admit. But just on that clip, she just mentioned his blackness. So yes, I agree. She did double down on what she said. But I wish, and I'm someone who's very interested in journalism. I wish I was in that room, because I would have called her and been like, I would have asked her, can you please define the blackness? Because as far as I understand, you're not from Ghana, West African, or even describe yourself as black. So what do you understand as that? Have you had a conversation with this gentleman?
One thing I was going to ask you, and then obviously kind of an open question there, is because she basically said the reason why she used identity politics. He pretty much went through a top prep school, went to Eton, went through all that sort of situation. And so basically she's, in answer to your question about what she means as black is, well, I suppose superficially black is, he didn't have the quote unquote black experience.
She didn't. No, she didn't. And she can't speak from that point of view. Do you know, I'm not even meant to cut you. Do you know another thing as well, which really jarred me about this, which when it comes to, let's say white society being prejudiced to anybody non-white, then we've got this people of color BAME thing. Let's all band together. All of a sudden, oh, we understand your plight. But those of us that, and especially in the UK, I think we'll understand this. Londoners may not see this as much, but I'm lucky enough to have traveled this country. I have relatives and friends in several parts of the country, Midlands, in Yorkshire, and also Lancashire. I went to uni in Bristol. I've been around. What I have found, particularly in Britain, is that if black people didn't come here, if the Windrush didn't happen, if we didn't have our mass immigration from the Caribbean and the West Indies, if it was just Asians and white people, they would be quite happy. Because to be perfectly honest, you know the whole model minority thing? I used to think it was a myth. That shit's true. And you know what? I don't know if people are aware, but, and I don't know the stats on this, so, you know, when you're the stats man, so if it ever pops up, I'd love to hear it. Asian and white, so Asian, whether it be imported or British Asian, and white English relationships, marriages, couples, having children, I see it to be quite a common thing, especially the more north you go. Now, what I do tend to find is that, especially when they're combined together, even if they've got like a kinship or a friendship, they combined don't like black people together. All of a sudden, it's not people of color. Next is them niggas.
Why are you shocked by this? I mean, the same can be said for...
I'm not shocked.
But mixed race...
No, listen. I'm not shocked. What I'm saying is, and if you've heard me, I say this all the time. What I'm saying to you is, this is great, because I want black people to realize this, because many black people do not realize this.
But the same thing...
No, wait. I've been arguing this with black people for a long time. I get into arguments with... I said it before. A lot of people think I'm a coon because I don't believe in this BAME bullshit. Sometimes I shouldn't say in places where I do. but it pisses me off because you lot are not our brothers. And someone said it in the chat, I think it was Falcon, I think it was Skittles. If we're going to talk not even racism, anti-blackness, Asians are worse than white people a lot of the time. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, and I understand that because they're insecure because they're not in top position. But let me just tell you
Sorry, I'm
this,
very
dude,
passionate about this. Sorry about
it's
my
this,
tone. I'm very passionate.
it's the same story with Mexicans in the United States. It's the same story with Chinese. It's the same story with Arabs, dude.
Mm.
All these non-black, non-white ethnicities, they're going to be more overtly racist because they're insecure because they're not in top position and they know it. That's a common thing. So I'm not going to go hard on Asians and say you're doing something so uniquely bad. No, what you've just described has been mentioned many times by African Americans regarding Mexicans in America and how they cozy up to the GOP because they want to fit in and they wave the flag. So I don't blame Asians for saying that. And number two, your point you're saying about the mixed Asians and Caucasian. Well, dude, there's a lot of mixed race people who are black and half white who behave extremely racist towards blacks and want nothing to do with black people whatsoever. There's more than
No, you know
enough
what?
out
I
there.
agree. But I know I agree with that. But that conversation is for us to be had. She has no place doing that because had it been the other way around, and Kwasi was talking on her culture, bro, it wouldn't be on. Like, you no. So I
Right,
agree.
right,
While I
right.
agree with you, we do have our own problems, but it's for not her to speak on. I get highly offended by them speaking on us.
But
And
this
her
is
main
yeah.
problem is like, look, he's a black conservative. Again, I agree with you. I don't agree with everything how he's gone on, but that's our conversation to have. Do you know what? They're gonna have to deal with it. We need to get more people in his position, then we can weed out who we need in place and then we don't. That's our place to do. She has no right doing it. That's why I'm offended.
But you've made a very good point when you mentioned about group. Because her group is very unified, you wouldn't dare go against it because you'd be going against a very strong lobby. And this is the thing that Wim is making a point about the thing how, deculturalization, not working together, we are the rainbow, holding hands, deculturalize, no code of conduct, where other people do have a code of conduct. And it really harms us in very big ways, more than we imagine. Because even if we do sell out or try to fit into another culture, at the end of the day, if things go against you, you don't have people, your own people behind you. And that's a massive negative thing. And Paul Kwasi, even though I don't like the guy, for reasons we won't go into,
He's on his own, isn't he?
He's on his own.
Like he's on his ass on his
He's
own.
on his own. He's on his own.
Now I've seen Sean Bailey, he's come out to defend him. A lot of people, I'm right, and we should defend Kwasi against any outside attacks in regards to checking his blackness. I think this conversation is an internal conversation about certain other things. And there's a question I want to paint this picture and ask you this question. Who am I? It's basically, who am I? If I told you I have a guy who has a PhD in economic history from Cambridge, speaks German, Greek, French, writes poetry in Latin, who do you think I am?
A white guy.
KB?
Yeah, I would have said the same probably.
Now, because obviously these things and this is what I want to get to the culture part and things, because like Asians, they speak Punjabi, Hindi, Urdu, depending, Pashto, Gujarati, all them kind of languages that they will speak. But again, Rishi Sunak, he was Eton educated. And this is where I want to get into this. Have we become the rainbow race? Have we decided to say, you know what, because let's be honest, it's smart to learn French, it's smart to learn Spanish, it's smart to learn all these languages because it's more held in esteem than, let's be honest, maybe African dialect tongues where only a certain few people will speak it, and maybe even tribal people speak it. Have we done the thing of we've tried to fit in to do the best for us and our children, but inadvertently we have now, what's the phrase? Don't be surprised if you send your kids to Caesar, they come back Roman, if that makes sense.
Very good point. And this is I'll just jump in on this. It's mainly the parents' fault for several reasons. I'll go into this. I've never told you the industry I work in, but I come into contact with very few blacks. And when I do come across blacks, their parents do the profession from overseas, high money, and they often come from the same tribe. And I say, okay, cool, I speak this African language. Do you speak your parents' African language, right? Did you learn it? Did you want to learn it? They say, oh, both my parents are from Benin or Nigerian, Edo. They talk about Bonza Benin. The guy doesn't speak a word of Edo, has no desire to speak Edo. He's in a relationship with a, you know what? And when I went to a wedding this weekend, the Hong Kong wedding in Marylebone, I met a Yoruba guy right? His parents came to work here. He does a high IQ job, high earning. His wife, surprisingly, is also Yoruba. Oh, I said, okay, do you speak Yoruba? No. And I'm like, both your parents are Yoruba, your wife's Yoruba. You don't speak Yoruba. Does your partner speak Yoruba? No, she doesn't speak Yoruba. I said, brother, you need to correct this, because when you have children, at least make sure that the child speaks your mother tongue, because he came to this Chinese wedding in in traditional Yoruba clothes, which I disagree with. When it's a Chinese wedding, I wouldn't go. I thought that was a bit off, but hey, he did it. And I said, yeah, if you're going to do that, I think you should know your language, seeing as you're homogenous. Like me and Wim, I'm half West Indian, yeah? And it's not as easy for us to try and reclaim to the other side. You could do genetic tests, which I've done, and you could find your tribe, and you could find your tribe. But then you still have to get the books and read about it and know what happened to them. And that takes time, and I'm working on trying to reclaim that half of it. But when you're fortunate enough to have both parents come not only from the same country, but the same tribe, and you just willingly deculturalize yourself, which me and Wim, we had our ancestors had that ripped away from us, and you willingly throw that away with one generation, that's a disgrace.
Can I jump in with that?
Go ahead,
Sorry,
KB,
Wim. Go. Sorry, bro.
No, go ahead, KB. Go ahead.
Sorry, brother. Zula, bro, you 150% on the head. Do you know how I was screaming, bro? Oh my God, bro. You're so correct. Look, specifically being Ghanaian, right? The exact same thing you're talking about. And I'll come into Caribbeans in a minute, actually, because I can talk about my missus, because you touched on something really vital. Anyway, being Ghanaian specifically, what we got the exact same thing. But what's funny is when you meet other Ghanaians, right? Older Ghanaians that are not of your family group or whatever, and they somehow identify, or you let them know that you're Ghanaian background, and maybe they see your name or something. One of the first things they ask you is, can you speak Tree? Can you speak this? Can you speak that? That's one of the first things they ask you. And most of us can't, just like most of us got the same problem. As soon as you can't, they give you this sort of why not reaction, disgusted reaction, etc. Now, it's really, and when you would respond with, well, I was never taught, it was almost like, oh, you should have learned. I don't know what is with us and yeah, that sort of thinking. Let me go to the Caribbean thing really quickly, because my missus, right, she's half St. Lucian and half Dominican, right? So her parents can both speak Creole, which is a version of obviously broken French, etc., right? She had to learn Creole herself. Why? Because her parents wouldn't teach her and her siblings Creole. Why? When she was older, she got the answer. Because we didn't want you guys to understand what we would, basically big people conversation, which is a ridiculous reason. I don't know the reason why we have this attitude, but I definitely agree with you. We definitely have this mad attitude of they have us in the West, because I'm the same position as you guys, except that I'm British Ghanaian version. They want us to do brilliant, come here, make the money, get the qualifications, get the jobs, and assimilate as well. You're born here, you should know what to do. But at the same time, there's this disconnect at the same time. I mean, it's a bit mad, because I've sometimes, if this is the exact same situation, I'm probably lucky that I was born in somewhere like London, being a Ghanaian, because there's a lot of Ghanaians in and around London. So there was people I could identify with. I was one of those families that, as British as I am, even from a small age, I was around Ghanaians, well, through my family at least. My friend group are mainly Caribbean. But if I was born in some remote part of, I don't know, Warwickshire or something, that's not far from you, is it, Wim, actually, is it? That's near Cove, isn't it? Warwickshire and that.
But couple of hours.
There you go.
Couple of hours.
But I could be from some remote town where there's hardly any other black people of any other culture, let alone Ghanaian or whatever. Bringing the disconnect might be, but the reason being, I don't know why, but I definitely agree with you, Zula. That's a massive problem with us. Maybe.
Do you know what it is? I think. I mean, and it is where I'll sort of give parents, because obviously they don't know what's going to happen in the future. They try and do the best for their kids. I'm assuming everyone tries to, right? And again, you would say the parents will try and raise up the child to make sure they have the best foot forward in life. Again, you're in England, therefore speak English. They probably thought the best way to integrate, because on the flip side, you have a lot of Asian kids who don't learn English until probably 3, 4, 5, and they have difficulty at the starting age to adapt to the environment that they're in because speaking language is essential. So maybe they thought, you know what, let me just don't worry about our native tongue because we're not in our native lands, therefore speak English. But the difference is, and this is really key, because once you learn someone's language, you kind of learn the mindset of the people. Same with religion, and with our people, it's like a combined effect of not just language, religion, our cultural output. Like old West Indians, as they call them, because old Caribbeans like to be called West Indians. Again, that's a slave term, but a lot of them, it's everything was culturally set to follow the British. They spoke like the British. They want to speak better than the Queen. They obviously had the Queen head. They loved everything about them. It's just like they had their religion, language, and I'm just like, maybe this is all part of the whole making of, I don't know,
A slave, making of a slave,
yeah.
the making of a slave.
Whereas in India and whatnot, they have their religious, their gods that they still follow. Some of their cultural settings which are a bit different. So, so when I heard this superficially black comment, outside of I was angry at first because I'm like, who's this? Who do she think she is? Let's take it away from it and let's get deeper into it, because I've done streams about how we've tried to do the right thing, but actually what's happened is we've had a it's almost white man in blackface running around.
But I don't want to be too gloom and gloom, because I mean, I think sometimes I do try and at least try and put forward a blueprint or plan in place. I think I do try and think towards the future, because I do think ahead. I do think I like predicting and I like forecasting and those type of things, but it is remediable, if that is a word. It can be fixed for you individually. If you know there's problems with this generation, you can make an effort to make an improvement in the next generation. So when I have children, they'll know Swahili, right? And for me, and I'll make sure that they can learn Igbo, which is the majority of my DNA makeup from my dad's side, overwhelmingly, surprisingly. And they can have a chance to at least get that. I'm going to be richer than my parents because of, the opportunities afforded to me and the profession I do. So they'll be able to go back and forth far more often. They'll have inheritance. So at least you could, hey, it may be too late for us, and we're always going to be in that mixed match, in that halfway house. But your children will have a better time of it if you take the right actions. For the most part, you can fix this. You can fix this. But it will take effort. It will take reading a lot. It will take seeking out tutors online, of which there are plenty. It will take going on YouTube and seeing certain people who show you parts of Africa that are more accessible. It's doable, and people are doing it.
I agree,
bro. If we get on this, we can flip this within 2 generations.
I agree.
Easy.
And the thing is, what's key? Sorry to cut KB is, and I know people don't like this guy, but I was listening to Dr. Umar Johnson on the radio, and he said something which is very true, because I read A Day in the Life for Kwasi Kwarteng, and he said that he didn't feel the need to learn like trio. He didn't see the need of it because of it has no relevance. Even though I'm like, does it have a cultural relevance to your spirit, your soul? And that made me think what Dr. Umar Johnson said was, until we do something that our people are proud of, why would they seek these things out? Why? I don't know whether it's because we seek out other things because we maybe not as proud. I could be wrong. But when I read that excerpt, he said, what's the point of me learning this language? Because it's not going to do me any good. I'm like, well, language is not just about how many people you can communicate with. It holds a cultural significance in your life. You see what I mean? That's the first point of that's your bloodline. So I'm just like, is it a case of, do we have enough people who are proud to actually be African? I know a lot of African brothers and sisters. I know a lot of you guys growing up. I don't know whether you telling me that how being African was a diss back in the day. It's getting better now, but that's because people have had to be proud to show off, you know what I mean, their Africanness. So yeah, I don't know whether Kwasi's part of that gang who's like, let me just forego this and let me learn here, let me learn the white man's language and how it is. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone.
But let's be real, man. This whole thing just highlighted to me, like, dude, can we assimilate fully? Because this is the best of the best, yeah? And they're still getting turned out. Auntie Joshua got turned out. thrown aside. You've got this Kwasi Kwarteng turned out, thrown aside. Like, I'm sorry to say this, bro. I just don't think it's worth trying to fit in. You're never gonna fit in fully. I want someone to please show me an example of someone who has, and tell me if it's worth it. Because from my point of view, I don't think it can be done. You'll be tolerated at best.
Do you
I
know what?
agree,
Do
bro.
look to add on, yeah. And the worst thing is, I don't even think. I think. Do you know what? I don't like giving them ratings. So this is through gritted teeth. But one thing I'll say about Asians, at least in this country, is to me, these ones I've been around. You don't even have to integrate or assimilate fully. You don't have to even do it 100%. You can take what you need and go. But we have this urge to want to completely 100% assimilate, and it's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's not necessary, I don't think. Even if it's 75% along the way, we can work it out. But I think it's the urge to, it's this urge again to want to be seen, to want to be here, to want to be like, bruv. I don't blame us. I'm British as anything myself, so I get it. But yeah, oh, bro, I'm asking more questions than saying answers, to be honest, bro. I don't know. I don't know.
I hear you, bro. I hear you, bro. Let me go to Ephraim. Evening, bro. Welcome to the stream. How you doing?
I'm fine. Why it matters and everyone in the stream.
Awesome. So let me ask you the first question then. So, the comment superficially black. Do you agree with that comment? Is that a thing?
No, it's not a thing. It's never been a thing. And what's so surprisingly funny is that we all thought it was the opposite, but not knowing that is someone who is of a different ethnicity who is trying to question or comment of our blackness in our blackness and also our experience, which to me, like everyone, is kind of an insult because you've not lived in our experience. So why are you questioning our experience?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, continue what you say. But say.
I was gonna ask this question because I agree. To question someone's blackness is like anything. Is like we wouldn't dare do it to you. You have your upper, middle, lower caste class of people. So likewise we do too. Now, do you? I don't know how much you know about Kwasi, but how do you view him in line with his credentials at all? And the reason why I have to, it's a package deal, and this is why I really want to get into asking this question. Do you see certain cultural things which make you think he sort of leans on the side which is probably not African, more European? He's more of a Negro-European. That makes sense.
I would say he's more of a Negro-European in terms of how he relates to more of British culture than his Ghanaian culture. Because if he's more of his Ghanaian culture, you can see it from who he's with, who he surrounds himself with, and how he identifies himself. But because he's not around that kind of culture, he is more akin to mostly the British culture, in which, if anything, because I myself, I'm also of Ghanaian with KB, and sometimes it can be very difficult to be where you want to put yourself in culturally if you're either Ghanaian or British. So for me, I would say for Kwasi, he is more into the British than him being Ghanaian.
Now then, because you raise a point here about, because if I can put here, he simply adapted to the environment that he was in. Now, yeah. I want to ask, okay, in that regards to that, would you see it as adapting, or would you see it as, what's the word, forgetting who he is, if that makes sense?
I would say either. I'll say either both, because if anything, he is born in this country, so he's more or less part of this country. But at the same time, too, he is also adapting because his parents could also give him that Ghanaian culture, and where they can take him to Ghana and see how his family is and their parents' culture and everything in place could be, in where he wouldn't be in this kind of, if anything, this pointless and also, if anything, this pointless scandal or if anything, irrelevant issue of where someone for different race would say.
I hear you, bro. I definitely hear you. I hear you. I want to come back to. I know you got the Ghanaian connection because I want to come back to that in a second. Sudi's gone. Jesse, welcome, bro. How's it going?
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, like basically what happened. Yeah, I just came out and I went to the park to practice my football, right? And then I was talking to my mum, right? And I went on the couch. As soon as I turned on my phone, I saw you live, and I just had to rush upstairs, bro. This is something I really wanted to talk about, right? I even
got your
messaged
got your
you on Twitter. I messaged you on Twitter. I said, "Look, this is worth a live stream, bro, because it proves a lot. It proves a lot about it. Like what happened to Kwasi pretty much confirms what I've been saying about how black people are perceived, and even some of the things that I've lived through. Right? It's like there's like with like if you're non-black here, not all races think like this, but it's like there's only one way to be black. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there's a stereotypical box that you have to stay in. If you're not that, you're not black. Right. And this is what like when what happened to Kwasi, yeah? It don't matter what level you're at. You could be in the elite level, you could be at the lower level. You're still gonna be treated the same. It doesn't matter. And it's the perfect example of what happened to Kwasi. And I could relate to this. And I thought, rah, this confirms everything I've been saying. If you don't fit the stereotype as a black person, you're basically not black. Right? The color of your skin doesn't determine if you're black for some people, it determines your actions. Right? And another thing as well is Zulia. I remember I think I was on a live stream. I don't know if it was on Falcon Black's live stream or yours. It proved my point that I feel as they're using him as the poster boy to the downfall of the British economy. Right? Because it feels that way, and let me explain why it feels that way, right? Why is all of a sudden how come he's got so much heat within the past, say, couple of days into becoming a chance of exchequer? Like I'm on Twitter and I'm seeing things like resign trending on Twitter.
Yeah.
Right, Liz Truss resign on Twitter, and I'm like, what's going on here? I never saw that same energy with Rishi Sunak when during the pandemic he was doing some madness. Rishi Sunak.
Now, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this because I asked in regards to political decisions. He's right to be criticized, like anyone's right to be criticized. And I think in answer to why he's been more criticized is he's made some, and again, it's not, I think it's Liz Truss a lot to do with this as well. So let's not get her off the hook as well. But the decisions that have been made are drastic. There have been some real drastic decisions that have been made that, as you know, the pound slumped to an all-time low against the dollar, against other, it's just like, whoa. So yes, I think Liz Truss, unfortunately, it's just the wrong time, and it leads to the point about how an Asian was a chancellor of the exchequer. He was right. Now, black man has the post. The first time a black man's been chancellor of the exchequer. Now look what's happened. I hear it right now. I hear everything right now.
Yeah.
Look what happens when we give him the post of running the finances.
A black man fumbled the money. You know it, innit?
You know.
Here's the thing. It goes in the order. It goes in the order of how you could argue how we are perceived. You got obviously who's on top. You got the other minorities, and then we got us.
Here's what's shocking as well, yeah, was when I saw some of the label, like David Lammy, bro. Like David Lammy, yeah. That guy, yeah, I just call him like when he did the interview, I think it was outside of Parliament, bro. David Lammy was looking a bit clammy, bro. Like he couldn't condemn them words that Rupa basically said, right? And the mad thing is this guy will be always talking about, whenever it's the opportunity to talk about race, David Lammy is on it like a car bonnet, bruv. And he just wasn't having it. He was deflecting. Man was sweating on camera. Everything, bruv. It looked like he had like a 2-wing hot piece chicken and chips, bruv. He was done out there, you know what I'm saying?
With a hot sauce, man.
You know, with the sauce. You know what I'm saying? So it was mad because it proved my point that, yeah, like if you're, and another thing is Falcon as well, when Falcon had that saying, one mistake Anthony Joshua, right? Same thing happening to Kwasi. One mistake, Kwasi. Now look. And my argument to some of the, when you said like, yeah, he did some drastic actions, right? Rishi Sunak during the pandemic did some drastic actions, bro. He destroyed some serious businesses with the furlough scheme, even though he tried.
You're right. I mean,
there's
I'll
some
say
businesses.
pandemic. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Right. And another thing as well, because I was working during the pandemic, right? A lot of the benefits were being converted into different benefits, and a lot of people were getting locked out of the benefit system during the time they needed it the most, which was the pandemic. Disabled people were killing themselves, right? Facts, right? Because they were denied of benefits because of this conversion, these changes, bro. Like, don't like, yeah, I hear that, like, Kwasi Kwarteng did them up, but to be honest, like, Rishi Sunak did quite a lot of damage, especially during the pandemic when he had to make like the serious actions. And then another thing as well is when he was moving snaky towards Boris, bruv. He saw Boris fail and he just wanted to jump for the top spot. He didn't get though, but still.
I hear you. Let me ask this question to the panel, because I think part of this topic for me, what I really wanted to articulate better was, this is how, if you don't already know, how people perceive Black culture. So when the whole argument of superficially Black came up, and when I listened to what she said, how he went to Eton, he went to this, he went to that, and also with the fact of, again, who he's married to, what languages he speaks, it stems to me about the whole cultural identity of Black people, and how you're right. If you're not your typical man, them roadman, that type of stuff, it's like, are you automatically seen as, then again, in superficially Black, you're just a wannabe white man? You know what I mean? So it goes. I want to ask this question then: how is Black culture then perceived? Then is it a case of everything negative is Black culture? That's what it is. Whereas everything positive, you have to be, if you want to be an aspiring Black man, have to take away all Black culture and go to white culture. Is that really where we're at nowadays?
But I want to say one thing in that lady's defense. I was reading an article on that guy, Kwasi Kwarteng, in The Economist last week on Friday, right? And one of the lines The Economist wrote, and they didn't get slammed for this, they said he is everything you'd expect from a typical Tory besides the fact that he's Black. And that was a line verbatim written in the article, right?
Yeah,
no one kicked up much of a fuss about that. And I read it and I didn't get offended. I was like, that's true. So, let's be real. Is he your stereotypical Black man in the UK? No, he's like maybe one in a million. Yeah, you're not gonna find many Black brothers who go to Eton or have, was it diplomat parents or something, or went to private school on scholarship and stuff like that. You're not gonna find that there. He's about as exceptional as his height of 6'5". You know what I mean? He's that rare. You're probably more likely to see Black guys who are 6'5" than you are to have someone of his background. You know what I'm saying? So in terms of what she's saying, is he your typical Black guy? No. A, he's conservative. B, he's 6'5". 3, he went to Eton. 4, he went to Cambridge. And 5, the man's a conservative. You know what I'm saying? So
I mean, she's right in that sense, but it's not like she said it in a, oh, look at this, there's a different Black guy. She said it with this. Let's just be honest. She said it with a sellout undertone.
Yeah, she never said anything like this is like a wonderful shining example. She never said it like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
But to be honest, would she go in hard against Priti Patel? Because a lot of these South Asians, they went absolutely hard on Priti Patel at points. Called her all types of coconut. Said that if she went to an Indian wedding, she'd ask what type of food is this. They said she probably likes a curry with no spice. Like, they went hard. They ripped her apart. Like, Priti Patel was getting hammered by Asians back in the day. They called her all types of sellout this because she got a white husband. She got absolutely carved up. Bedwinch, they called her. So you know what I mean? Like, and a lot of my Asian mates hated Priti Patel, and the Asian Muslims despised her with a passion. Yeah. So like, and do I think all these conservatives, yeah, the ethnic ones, besides Sunak, yeah, I think they're all sellouts, to be honest. I'm sorry, that's just my opinion. All of them. Javed, Priti Patel, Barberman, Kimi Badenoch. I mean, you look at their partners, man. All of them besides Sunak, and that's all you need to know.
This is interesting,
Go ahead, elaborate.
What I mean, interesting, is it's just that as we as ethnic minorities in the UK, we are mostly aligned with those who are the opposite. And once we do something which is more of the opposite, we now get a lot of pushback from our own, which just shows how much more we are more disconnected.
And you know what it is? And I'm going to give a little bit of a situation happened at my workplace, because I've been the token in my workplace, especially when you go up the chain, you're less likely to see people who look like you. So again, what happens with a lot of people who don't see people like you or don't interact with them is you become cool, you become cordial, because you know that's what you're supposed to do in workplace. I'm working. I'm not going to be a complete dickhead. So I'm going to just be cordial and do my work, and you know we're going to talk, and it is what it is. And then I remember one time when another black guy was applying for the role and going into my team. This is where you can't. This is where sometimes I had to like smack my head and realize, oh, flipping hell. And I think this is where sometimes a lot of people who get up to certain levels, they get this smack of, do you know who you are? Do you remember what color you are? And the comment was this: is this guy like you? Talking to the other black guy who wants to be a part of the team. And at first I was like, what do you mean? No, it's cool. He's cool. And then I realized what he really meant when he said, is he like me? He meant, is he, I don't know what's the word, white friendly, or is he a stereotype? And I'm just like, are you telling me that's the only type of two, that's how you see things? It's just like, I don't know whether everyone's peeped that sometimes, where you have that situation where if you're cool, they won't see you like, oh no, you're cool, but every other black person's like this. Oh yeah, you're cool, but every other person. I don't know if anyone's ever had that situation where, and I don't know if it's similar to how Kwasi is, how again he's just trying to make a living for himself. He's trying to do what he needs to do. But what's actually happened is he's morphed himself into them, into their culture. And it's obviously not by his mistake, not obviously by his doing. It just is what it is. But it's like, oh man. So this is where the disconnect comes from a little bit. And it's not, it's just you live in life, you're doing what you need to do to get by. And I don't know whether this is what it is. Again, does going to Eton mean you're white? Does going to Cambridge mean that you're white? No. Does it mean you're not black? It has nothing to do with race and color, but it's everything combined. It's everything. Like you said, Zulu, about Priti Patel not even knowing anything about Indians' food. It's like, it's everything, isn't it? And it's like, I don't know.
But the funny thing is, when you're in environments like that, yeah, where you're the only black, you're dark skinned black, you've got the hair thing going on, you go to these all white environments, middle class, and you go there, you must feel like you have leprosy, like your very being is a disease, and psychologically it may make you want to erase it or to move away from it in many different ways, ranging from your friends, your dating choices, it must make you feel like your form is bad. You have to correct that by trying to wash it away or separating yourself from it as much as possible. That's what I feel is a big problem when people like us go to these very non-black establishments or environments for a long period of time. I think psychologically it really messes people up bad.
You know what?
Yeah. So who was saying that? Jesse, that you saying something?
Yeah, that was me. I agree to an extent, but like I would say it psychologically messes people because I've worked in contrasts. Right? What I mean by that is I've worked in a predominantly like in a short space of time, right? I've worked in a predominantly black let's say company or charity, and then I've worked with a predominantly white charity, right? Within the space of 2 years, right? And what I will say, the ones that get psychologically damaged from that is the ones that don't know how to don't know how to be formal and non-formal. That's what there's certain like blacks out there that are just they're just one way. Like for example, you know a guy like Troops.
Oh yeah.
Right, Troops from Arsenal Fan TV. Yeah, like if you notice when he transitioned from AFC TV to say Barstools, right? He still kept the same energy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So like certain people just can't. Like certain people, it's like they will be damaged. They will be psychologically damaged. They don't have the ability to turn it off. Like I have seen it where certain Donnies just don't feel right, and then they just have to leave because they can't be truly themselves. Like, for instance, because I'm a hybrid, right? I'll say I'm informal and I'm informal. I got no problem with that. Like, it doesn't affect me. I still know who I am. I'm still black, so on and so forth, right? But that's just me, though.
Don't you have Asperger's? I
Yeah,
remember
I
you
have
said
Asperger's.
yeah,
I'm born
believe it or
with it.
not, so do I. But don't you think that kind of gives you an advantage because you kind of don't get swayed as easily by popular mainstream
Yeah,
issues? So you
that is true. You know, on a mad one, that is true because I was never someone who followed the trend in it. Because that's another thing with me. Yeah, when there was a time where, like, I don't see myself as a victim, even though I'm a black guy. Yeah, I do admit that. Yeah, like, there's racism, but I don't feel as there's racism to the point where it's just so bad to the point where you can't do well in this country, right? I just feel as if this country is just, I would say, it's institutionally classist. That's how I see the country, because I've pointed out even the pandemic, right? During the pandemic, right, was there was so many things that were shown and done during the pandemic that showed that class was the bigger issue in this country than actual race, right? For example, I'll give you one example. Does anyone remember Sarah Everard?
Yeah.
Right.
Unfortunately, not killed.
Does anyone remember the vigil that happened at Clapham Common?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Explain this to me, right? The police clearly stated, right? This was done by the police. They even put out a statement, said, please, because of him, the pandemic lockdown, please do not come to the visual, right? Police came. They still came. The women didn't listen. They still came, right? And basically, these women were getting manhandled, right? Now, the Duchess of Cambridge, I think, is William's wife, is photographed, right? Photographed, and is actually shown that she's out there. Technically, she's breaking the law. That's what she's doing. Why is it that she got no backlash? She didn't get nothing. It's because of the class she is. She's part of the elite, right? That went over people's heads right there. Right.
Also, there's a bit of favoritism here because if that,
right.
and I also think it's to do with she sensed that she read the room right. You know, if you see what I'm saying, she read it correctly. But I think favoritism. If that was Meghan Markle, she would have got killed in the press.
100%.
They just don't like her. They just don't like her at all.
But I'm talking on on a law level, because there were women that were getting locked up there, bro. I seen the footage, but she cool. I don't know if they will try and lock up Meghan Markle if she went down there. I don't know.
No, but she would have got killed in the press, though. She would have got killed.
She would get destroyed in the press, of course.
But yeah.
But that's how I see things. But having autism in a way, especially when you studied it and you know how it works and how to live with it, yeah, it can be a gift. It can be a gift at time. Like, that's why I see things the way I see things regarding the black community. I think us as black people are the biggest problem in the black community, in my opinion. Right? I will say that yes, there is certain factors.
But Jesse, let me come back to this one, because here's an example of a brother who educated, speaks about 3 languages, I think 4 languages, maybe not as fluent, reads poetry, all that kind of other stuff, and he gets this treatment. Now, here's the thing: just because only one person said it, how many people thought it going through his whole career? How many people thought, I know who you are, I see what you listen to, I see your cultural, what you like to do, your cultural exploits, how you present yourself, how you speak, who you're marrying, who you're dating, your history, everything. And again, he's not doing anything wrong. He's not doing anything that's, illegal. Any person can learn Greek, German, that kind of other stuff. But yet he gets this treatment. What does that say then to you? Can you hear me, Jesse?
Yeah. Sorry, I muted myself by accident. Who gets the treatment?
He does. So this is the guy who doesn't form the stereotype, and yet he gets
Kwasi Kwarteng.
Yeah, Kwasi, yeah.
And you say,
because you're saying that we are our biggest enemy, right? But this is a brother here. This topic is about a brother who doesn't exude any of those stereotypes, and yet he gets this kind of treatment.
I would say it's the majority, but then I think the reason why this is a difficult one, right? And this is going to sound very controversial, right? I will say that the racism, what I mean by the racism is let's say the majority of this country, I don't think is racist. I think that there's certain minority groups that look down on black people more. And that's what I will say based off my experience. I've been through quite a bit where I've had Pakistani boys try and beat me up for my phone, and I know it was racism. And when I was in college, right? So basically, I think that sometimes we have too much energy on pointing racism to, let's say, the majority of this country, and don't actually look at some of the minorities' actions.
I hear you, bro.
Because, like, for example,
I'm just gonna I'm just gonna get Thomas in. I hear you, because I'm just gonna this comment here I want to pinpoint here, which is this one: how class and race are neatly woven together. I think what we've done with the class system, like you know how in Indian subcontinent they have the caste system, where darker skin are at the bottom. I think race has been transformed into the caste system, which is the class system. So the lighter skin you are, you're a higher class, and the darker skin you are, you're in the lower class. That's how I think classism plays a huge role in here.
It does. And you can actually look, if you go on Wikipedia and look up status, social status, there's actually a little line on there. I can't remember which. I think it's under social status, right? That actually shows that many cultures perceive if you are darker, you're of lower value. If you are lighter skin, you're of high value. It's actually on Wikipedia. If I could find it out, I could put it in the chat.
I read it too. I recognize. I read the thing too. Yeah.
You've read it too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So it definitely exists. That's exactly how class works. It's skin based. It's skin color based, but it's not actually race based.
I get you.
For example, like you could be a dark Indian, you could be a dark black, you could be a dark whatever. Right. Class. Yes, I agree with what MD said. That class is intertwined with race to an extent. I do agree with that to an extent. Yeah.
Because ultimately, here's what I think. Because Kwasi elevated himself, they don't see him as that black guy. They see him as that white guy who is black, if that makes sense. So this is where once you get to certain levels, you can't be a black guy. No. Oh, okay, yeah, you're like a white guy. I want to be, because you've elevated yourself to such a high degree that actually you've taken off that blackness, and now you've elevated yourself to whiteness. That's how sometimes it feels like they're saying. Let me get. Go ahead.
No. If I interrupted, no, I'll wait. Don't worry.
I'm going to Thomas, and then you can answer my point on that one. Thomas, thanks for waiting. How's it going, bro?
Hi, good evening, bro. Good evening, brothers. How are you?
Evening. Well, doing well, bro.
I'm good, bro. Sorry, just because I came in late. I was just revising for an exam. Sorry.
Okay. I mean, listen. Revision is definitely key, bro. So yeah, don't. Hope
good luck, bro.
In it, man. Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, Thomas, man.
Good luck.
Thanks.
Right. Yeah, right now, yeah, you're being superficially black at the moment, though.
Well, depends. What subject, bro? What subject?
Yeah.
Depends. What subject?
I'm currently a software developer. So
Oh yeah, you're definitely superficially black, bro. You're
Nice.
definitely superficially black.
Yeah, very superficial, man. You can't be doing that, man. You need to play basketball, man. You need to do sports or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, you know I'm just playing with you, man. I wish you all the best, man. Real talks, man. It's good to hear that, man, that you know, we need more people like that in the community about just doing positive things.
Oh, thanks, bro. Thank you.
It's all good.
Yeah, what do you mean by superficially black? What, you're not the stereotypical
Let me play this clip then. I'm gonna play it again. So let me play this clip. So give me a second. Right.
No, I'm sorry if I'm not making myself understood clearly. He's superficially he's a black man, but again, he's got more in common. If you look at it's that Joe Cox thing, more in common. If you look at the character, he went to Eton, I think he went to very expensive prep school, all the way through the top schools in the country. If you hear him on the Today programme, you wouldn't know he's black.
Hope that answers your question.
But that was really disrespectful from that chick, bro. Like, who? Oh man. I
She
just,
wants to hear Jermaine's voice, isn't it? That's what she wants to hear.
She
Bro.
does. She does.
That's what she wants to hear.
She does.
so what we're saying is Brother Kwasi is a Malteser, basically.
Yep.
Yeah, he's more of an Oreo.
Oh gosh, there we go again. Oh man.
Now I was making a point I was discussing this before you came on, and this is what I'll ask you then. Is it the fact of it's not just that he went to, it's everything, it's the package. He's went to the expensive schools, which, let's be honest, a lot of black folk probably don't have that experience. He speaks European languages. He's learning Arabic right now. He's not really he doesn't really speak his native tongue, from what I understand. There are certain things which, once you put everything together, who he's dating, who he's previously dated, his cultural influences, is there something in that we think, who Thomas, if you was to meet this guy and listen to him and think, okay, he's black, don't get me wrong, but you think he more has a European influence more than an African influence, if that makes sense?
Oh, to be honest, the first thing, if I met Brother Kwasi, I'll give him a big handshake and a hug. And I'll tell him that continue what you're doing, brother, because you're improving the black man's image. That's what I'll do first. And I'll have a drink with him and a nice conversation with him. Because in my opinion, Brother Kwasi, he's what black men should aspire to be. I mean, this brother is he's an intellectual brother. He went to Oxford or Cambridge. He has a PhD in, I believe, history and economics, right? And all I see when I look at Brother Kwasi is success, but because he doesn't promote the black stereotypes, those negative stereotypes. People call him, oh, you're superficially black. So do you know what liberal black people call Brother Kwasi, Brother Wim? You're a sellout. Oh, nah, man, you don't act black enough. He's basically Carlton 2.0.
Can I just push back on this a little bit? Because I think sometimes when that is given, that's a bit of a I think people call people sellouts have a lazy way of doing it. We both have lazy ways of explaining it. Let me explain.
Yeah.
Asians go to Cambridge. Asians go to Oxford. But there are some Asians that will not get this tag of being a sellout because and this is the kind of a question which kind of I can put on here. Is there something which, if you don't identify with, that's your black card gone? Because let's be honest, there are black people go to private educated schools. Zizi Mills did. Now, I don't think anyone will say that she's not black. Now, is it what I suppose my question to you, Thomas, then open panel is, what is it which defines that whole blackness? Have we been bad at defining what blackness is at a higher level?
What blackness is? I'll explain what blackness is, which is very wrong, right? Being black is literally into gangster rap, yeah, drill, yeah, living that role, having that roadman mentality, yeah, being a Pookie, Ray Ray, or Tyrone, yeah, having your bottoms, your trousers, yeah, down to your knees, and you're showing your boxers whilst you're walking on the streets of London, yeah.
Do people still do that nowadays? Because I
go
past
they
people.
Do. I see them doing it in Brixton, bro.
Okay.
They do that in Brixton, Lewisham, Peckham.
I thought that was like a over 10 years ago thing. I didn't think that was still a thing these days.
Oh, bro, they still do it.
All right.
like for example, when I was on the 122 bus, yeah, and I just mind my own business, and I just heard I was on a double decker bus, yeah, at the back, I heard a group of black youths here just blasting drill music, and I'm like, where's the self-respect? That's what being black is, bro. Promoting those negative stereotypes. Promoting those negative stereotypes, that's celebrated on the media. That's why you see Big Nasty getting his own flipping show. Why is that? Big Nasty's a clown, bro. He shouldn't deserve his own show. The reason why he's successful because he is a stereotype.
100%.
That's what being black is, brother Wim. Promoting the negative stereotypes. I'm fully against that. That's why I look up to brothers like Brother Kwasi, because he's doing the right thing. He's doing the right thing. He's giving black men a good image. He's improving the image of black men.
I hear you, bro. I hear you, bro. J2 Day, welcome, bro. Feel free to jump in on that, actually. Actually, before I do, sorry, one sec. Yeah, KB, I've just got it. Thanks, shout out KB for the Cash App. I don't promote it, but no, thanks, KB. So big up to you. Big up. J2 Day, welcome, bro.
Thank you so much.
Jump in at any point. I know you wanted to pick up back off what Thomas said. So
yeah, I mean, for me, it's just I want to give my perspective, because I went to a school that would be considered posh, and that has literally made my accent just through sheer exposure. I don't really sound like a typical black guy, even though I grew up in Luton, which is basically has a lot of black people. But I think that having like Kwasi, someone like that, with that kind of, I guess, that kind of accent, I think is a good thing for exposure, because all we see on TV and all we're used to is typical, urban perception of a black guy, but we're all different. We're not the same, we're not the same person. So I guess, there is that fear, fear of an intelligent black man. I think that's what is underlying the comments that people, give about him. But at the end of the day, yeah.
Can I ask you this question then? Do you think it was I don't know if is it intelligence? Is that I'm trying to pinpoint the exact thing that almost revokes the black card in black people and other people. Because again, this was an Asian MP. She should know better. Well, I say that people will disagree with me here, but I thought ethnic minority will know better than to stereotype based on those type of things. So I suppose my question to you, Jay, today, because you said you had a similar background. Where is it, do you think, where it falls down in terms of the disconnect between you feeling black or being called black? Is it intelligence? Is it they listen to the music? What is it? I'm trying to just pinpoint. Is there something, or is something I'm missing?
No, I think it's purely the accent. That's literally the one thing that really stands out. Because if he had a typical black or typical urban accent, no one would consider him, different. It's the first thing that stands out because it's just so rare. I mean, there's only him, Bim Afalami, and
have you heard how he sounds? Woo, bro.
Yeah. So
I'll keep it real. He sounds like, I would say, a white guy if you listen to him.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, and that's not a bad thing. It just shows diversity in who we are as a people. I don't think it's good to, consider when you close your eyes, you shouldn't think of as a black man as someone who's just speaking urban or has this typical accent. There should be like Manchester accents. It should be Scottish accents, Irish accents. We're not all the same.
But you know what it is, though? It may not even be that. It may just be, and this is what I was saying about how whiteness is perceived and how blackness is perceived as a general, because why is it that when he sounds like that, it's always white culture? Why is it not sounding like Asians? You know what I mean? I don't know what it is, but is there a bias towards, is it the prejudice towards black culture as a whole, as opposed to anything else? That makes sense.
I think it's a prejudice towards black men who can think. Black men who can think on their own terms, because the stereotype that gets pushed in the media is a black man who follows a crowd or just hasn't got direction in his thinking, hasn't got any intelligent, way of thinking on his own. So
I want to add on after you, but go on. Sorry, I interrupted you. Sorry.
Oh no, I was just going to say that, yeah, when it does happen, it's so shocking because it's so rare, it's so new, that it causes fear, unfortunately. Until like maybe in a few decades, it's going to be a normal thing. But for now, it's just so rare that it's just like, wow, my perceptions are being broken. So it's just that fear of your perceptions being broken. That's what I think.
Hey, let me get Angleton in, and then I'm going to get Thomas and then Zulu. So let me get Angleton in because he's come in. He's not spoken. So Angleton, how's it going? And then jump in at any point in regards to what you're hearing so far.
Yo, yeah, man. Can you can hear me all right? Yeah.
Were you trolling the other day?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah.
Awesome, bro. Nah, funny enough, that sounds like an African language, bro. So just wanted to say.
Yeah. Now you know what it is, because I was gonna come up and I had some things to say, but then I kind of ran out. So I was just like, well, let me just troll for the sake of it,
I can't talk to you anyway, bro. It's all good. It's all love. But yeah, anyway, go ahead. I'm assuming you're gonna actually speak.
Yeah. So okay, recently, like the other day, I was at a bar and I was just sort of chilling, like talking to people. Then there's this like Asian guy that was next to me, Indian. We got talking. He was like, "Oh, I like your afro, this, that." And then he's like, "Where are you from?" And I told him, I said, "I'm half English, half African." And then I noticed, like later on in the conversation, he said, "You're very white for a black guy." And I'm thinking, well, I just told you that I'm half white. So, like, don't you think I've obviously had some kind of exposure to white people? I mean, if you kind of deep that for a second, maybe, I don't know, I'm over analyzing it, and I've heard like Indian sort of Asian types of people say that type of thing to me in other situations. And I find it very peculiar. It's like, I don't know how to sort of process it, but it's like.
Now, is it because you acted in the proper way? Can I say? Is it because you weren't, again, to people's point on the panel, Thomas's J2 days? You had a different type of vibe about you. Do you think?
No, I think it was more just to do with my interests, because I think a lot of those types of people, they don't expect, because like we were talking about all types of stuff, like, I don't know, the elites, like social engineering and like World War II and like just all different sort of types of stuff. And I think a lot of them are maybe not used to maybe thinking that men of color could speak about this stuff. Maybe it's not that, I don't know. But like, and like going back into what KB was saying, because I've heard KB mention this numerous occasions in the past. He's spoken about like Indians being very sort of hostile towards black people. And what I've noticed is whenever I've sort of been around Indian females, they tend to have quite a sort of negative vibe. So I don't even really engage with them. Like when I see them, I kind of just give one word replies. I don't even want to talk, because like I already know it's good. It's going to be some kind of like, it's like, like sometimes they look almost as though you're scary, or it's like I don't even have that look about me. I look like I work for Google. Like I look like I wear glasses. I look like what you would call a nerd. But I don't know, man. Like it's just, I don't know what it is about that group. It's like they seem to have a real disdain for people, well, black people, mixed people of African heritage. Anyway, it's not all of them, obviously, but this whole thing just doesn't surprise me. And it's like no one ever says like an Indian's acting white. It's always when it's a black person. Like if an Indian person speaks with intelligence, high vocabulary, white accent, no one says that. But when it's a black man, and even me, a mixed guy who's half black, all of a sudden it's like, oh, you're trying to be white. And I think like that is just so racist. Like anyway, sorry.
Bro, you're right. You're absolutely right, bro. I've realized even in the wait, before I ask this question, are there any brothers who work in IT? Anyone?
No, I don't work in IT.
I've dabbled in the IT arena based on my work, because I work in a bit of a STEM field, so I do sort of dabble a little bit in IT. It's heavily South Asian oriented.
Yeah.
So,
I don't work in IT.
Thank you. From my experience, there is a hierarchy in terms of race in the IT industry. The whites are at the top, as always. Then is Asians. Then other ethnic groups, and all the way at the bottom is blacks. What I've realized and experienced is that Asians do not like blacks in the IT industry. I've realized that, and what I've done and this is smart on my behalf, is that I make sure if I see another brother, I make sure I form a clique with them, so we can help each other out, because that's what I've been experiencing in
Do
my
they
work.
want you to? Because like some of these guys, they'll actually distance themselves from you because they want to fit in with the rest. So, yeah.
I've seen that, brother. I've seen that, brother. They're a token black guy. I've seen that, and you know what?
You've just raised the point I wanted to ask, but go ahead.
You know what? If I can't help that brother, then it's up to him. He's on his own. But I make sure if there's a brother that he's in IT, and I make sure that I do my best to help him, because I've had elder brothers who are in IT who helped me get to where I am today, and I'm grateful for that. I want to do the same for other brothers as well. But when I'm in IT, I make sure I'm helping a brother out. I don't want to exclude him, because you see whites, you see Asians, they're helping each other out. But when it comes to a lot of opportunities, they always exclude black men. I've seen that. I'm like, no. My mum introduced me to IT, and she told me, "Said be careful in IT. They're very discriminative towards black people." So that's why I've been very good in IT. I've been very strategic. But yeah, these Asians, they look down on black people when it comes to not only IT but finance, engineering. It's all dominated by Asians, and I just think black men, if you're in IT, you just need to move strategically and help black men out. But the thing is, if you move strategically, they'll kind of notice you that, why this black guy excluding himself from us? So try and play along with them and be friendly. Try and be don't be yourself. Just be professional, because if you be yourself, they'll be like, they don't want to interact with you, because your true personality comes out, and they'll feel intimidated. So I don't do that. I know some black men do that, and I told them, just be yourself, man. Don't take any BS from them. Like, who do they think they are? They can't.
Thomas, do you work?
Go on, bro.
Do you work in London by any chance?
Yes, I do.
Okay, because I've worked in London, Cambridge, Birmingham, Bedford, quite a few cities, and I notice exactly what you're talking about, but it seems to be very particular to London and Birmingham, those big cities. I don't know if it's particularly. I don't think it's necessarily that they are racist, because I think it's because of the city environment. It's very hyper competitive, and it creates that kind of. So if you move to somewhere like Cambridge or Oxford or something like that, you notice that people are more friendly and they're more welcoming of minorities, and even so, it doesn't matter if you're black, whatever. You're gonna be more included in these kind of things. But in a city environment, I think there's just so much competition. The traffic, the space. It just creates a psychological phenomenon where people actually begin to compete with each other in the office place as well. So it wouldn't surprise me, because that's what I experienced in London. It was awful. London is the worst place I ever worked in.
You're absolutely correct, bro. You're absolutely correct. When it comes to interviews as well, so I'm currently leaving my current job for a new job. So I've interviewed before I received an offer from the company I'm going to work for in the future. I had an interview with this IT consultancy called Capgemini, and this was for a DevOps engineer position. Now, one of the interviewers was senior DevOps engineer. So DevOps is like software development, right? On a whole nother level. So one of the interviewers was a black man, and he was Nigerian. So when he saw my name, he said, "Oh, hello, Adewale." And I just said, "Oh, fuck." because he said so this guy grilled me, brothers, man. He absolutely grilled me, and the answers I gave to the questions he asked me, he said that was not good enough. And the thing is, his partner was a white man. And
he was
whoa,
that persuasion.
What did he say?
His partner. Hold on, brother. So there were
the other side.
There were two interviewers. Yeah, I was interviewing for the position of DevOps engineer. Yeah, this black man, he was the lead interviewer. He was Nigerian, and he knew I was Nigerian based on my name. So he was in charge of the interview, and his colleague was a white man. He has less experience.
Colleague.
Yeah, his colleague has less experience. The white guy. So he was following him, the black guy who was interviewing me. As he was grilling me, this white guy said, "Yep, I agree. And I'm like, wow, talk about tokenization. Like he didn't even give me a chance.
Now, I would like to know if he thought he would have done you a disservice if he'd gone easy on you. I don't know whether he thought, I'm going to toughen you up harder, because I've heard that before, where a lot of black people go harder on other black people because you've got it difficult. I don't know if it's that type of thing. I don't know, bro. Let me go to Sue.
Sorry, but I think it is. I think when brother J2 said, about competition, some black people, I'm not gonna lie, some black men, they don't help each other out when it comes to STEM.
I was going to ask you about the token, because there's a reason why it's called the token for reasons you've stated. Let me go to Zulu, because I know you wanted to come in on this. So
no, I think my point might read on from what you're saying. So I'm going to wait till you say your thing first, because I think I'm going to be going on from what you say.
Okay, so when I hear the word token, it's more than just being the only black guy there. It goes to your guys' point about how you have those black people, and I think it goes to black women as well, but black people who they want to be the only black person in that room, and I don't know what it is, but they almost feel threatened when another black person gets in the room. Like they don't want to help because they want to be seen as the good Negro. They want to be seen as, you know what I mean? It's like anyone watched Django Unchained, and you had Samuel Jackson. Steven. And then Django came in. It's like who, and he was giving him so much grief because guess what? He was going to replace him as being that guy. So when it comes to the token, there is a token, but it's not about you just the older black guy there. You can't help that. I'm not about the mentality of the token. That's what sometimes pervades, and it's deep in it because you want to fit in with where you're at, but then it's like I was saying about the reason why people see him as superficially black is because guess what? Anything intelligent is to do with black people. Like you said, we're black people in the industries. They're not in IT, they're not in finance, they're not in these STEM subjects, not in leadership like Indians are. Indians are chancellor exchequers. Indians are the mayor of London. Indians or South Asians are doing that, not black folk. So I don't know if my point makes a lot of sense, but it just seems like that's what it is.
It does make a lot of sense.
Whoa, brother. Whoa, hold on, wait.
Go ahead, Julia. Go ahead. I know.
Sorry.
I was gonna say, yeah, I've experienced that phenomenon multiple times, and I'm just being real. Most of the times I've met guys like that, they went to private school, or their parents were very high earning jobs. They're used to being the only ones in the room, and then I roll up in there, and even though my voice doesn't sound that way, I get my trim done regularly. I have a nice, well kept beard. I wear, I smell like a black guy. I wear those argan oil, cocoa butter, I wear shirts which match my skin tone, like the purples, the light blues, I dress well, what I'm saying? And I'm well built, I've got a lot of muscle on me, yeah? So I look, when I speak I don't, but I look like a black guy, right? And I come across as the type of guy, you see me, you think I like black women or Latino women. You can never see me. I've had people say, you look at me and you know that I like my women ethnic, off rip. You could just never see me with. No. I've had people say this. They just look at you. I say, I could just never imagine you being with a
white woman or something.
Yeah, it just can't happen. It won't. It's not going to happen, right?
Oh, bro, you're funny.
But I had a situation where I worked with a guy who was like that, and the guy gave me a microaggression. I've seen this happen a couple of times where I've literally seen microaggressions from black people, from black guys. The rare ones I see, and I'm like, oh my goodness, a black person here, great, it's so great not to be the only one. I look at them and they they do a microaggression at me, and then of course you look at their dating, that you know who they're dating, and it's as expected, and you know all these type. When was the last time you've been to Africa? Oh, 15 years ago, and you know, oh, where do you get your head? They never get shape ups. They never have shape ups. And you know, what type of music do you like? And all these type of things. Yeah, and it's just like, my goodness, this guy is not at all like me.
Say it.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a very real thing. They want to be the only one in the room. They're happy being like that. They want to be that way. It gives them proud. They're happy that they're not a house. They're in the house. They're not out there in the fields, in the hoods or on the high street. You know, they're in the big house. And a lot of them, this is the harsh reality. I want to say this right now. A lot of those guys, they want to be white guys. Okay, deep inside, they actually want to be white guys, deeply, and they get and yeah. Thank you. I made my point.
Now, Ephraim, go ahead.
I mean, it's the same thing with a lot of mixed
one
people as
Angleton,
well.
One sec, Angleton. Sorry,
yeah,
get in there, and then Angleton, you can go. No problem.
About the question you said about being the only black guy in or predominantly white workforce, it can be sometimes a bit more of a work, because if anything in itself within the work, because if anything you have to please those of the majority, so that you could be more or less, if anything, promoted, or if there's any favors they'll give it to you. And with that too, it does give you a hindrance in terms of culturally or consciously of yourself, because it does affect you around socially everywhere you go. That's why I think it is.
No, there has to be some sort of impact psychologically to you. Before I go to Angleton, let me just say this. Thank you for everyone who's watching the stream right now. I got 29, 30 people watching. Like the goddamn stream, people. You know you're loving it. That's why you're here. That's why you're staying around. So just like the stream. Just a little click of that button. Like, if you're new, subscribe, share that stream. You know the good stuff. Right, let me go to Angleton. Then Thomas, you can come in, bro. No, honestly, God.
Yeah. No, I actually don't want to. I actually wanted to ask Azulia a question. You said, you know, you've seen a lot of like mixed people that are anti-black. Do you have any like stories? Because like I've noticed that as well. Like,
I mean,
like even with them doing it to me. Like, yeah, go on.
I got some.
Basically, my partner. She's got most recent one is my partner. She's got a best friend who is I think half Jamaican, half English, right? And basically, she never ever dated black guys. She said that she finds black features ugly. She'll go with the most dweeby looking, unattractive, skinny white guy with no credentials just because he's white. She'll be turned out by him. And then when my girlfriend said that my fiance introduced me to her, she's like, oh, he's going to end up cheating on you. He's going to do this to you. He's going to do that to you. Just a list of negative things that she had to say about me. And it was actually my fiance's white friend who was the one that was actually way more, you know, pro me, pro, you know, saying good, what a wonderful couple you look together, all these type of things. And the mixed race chick was just bashing brothers, even though she's never dated them. She doesn't want to affiliate. She never goes to Jamaica. She doesn't hang around any blacks. She got jealous when it turns out that the white girl, there's three of them as friends, the white girl got married or engaged first. My black partner is engaged, yeah. And the one that's single and older than the lot is the mixed race girl. And she got disconnected from my black female friend because she felt, this is what my girlfriend told me, she felt that better than the black woman, and felt offended that how could a black woman be seen as more desirable than a mixed race woman? And I, the mixed race woman, am still single and getting pumped and dumped. That's just the first example, but there's countless examples of ones where they say, you know, black women are ugly, you know, black guys are ugly, you know, there's countless TikTok, Instagram videos of the same stuff. Don't want a woman that looks like Didier Drogba. I'm not an oil driller. These are all mixed race YouTubers who say these things all on Instagram. It's obvious. They say it out there all the time.
Wait, which YouTubers?
Hizzy Toki was saying
Hizzy
that.
Toki, yeah.
Yeah, I can't stand that dude, to be honest.
The thing is,
I don't even know who that is.
And it's some mixed race guy, yeah.
From Essex or something like that.
Essex or Birmingham. Okay, Essex, yeah.
Oh, what, the one with the muscles?
Yeah. The thing is, I watched that video back in its entirety. He was talking to his white mate and he's saying that he dated one black guy, who looked white.
You like
and
him,
his white mate gave him a look. I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
A white girl who looks white. I'm like, yeah. Like he couldn't date any black girl from London because they're all clapped. I'm like, raw man, this guy has the balls to talk this amount of shit online. Wow. Yeah. And his white mate, he can tell his white mate he didn't want anything to do with this topic. He was like, bruh, but stop talking. Stop talking. Yeah, but I honestly think it goes to brother JLC's talking point is that, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, black women have been constantly been everyone's punching bag, unfortunately. I mean, I don't think it'll ever stop, brother JLC. What do you think?
Well, until we reject, unless we en masse reject the programming, man, and value them above any others, it won't change.
Let me ask you this, brother. Do you think, now let me play devil's advocate, do you think some of these, not all, but I'm targeting the black women who are liberal, who promote thought culture, who promote this boss lady mentality, I think they're talking about that particular black woman, not the good ones, because they're few. The majority are liberal.
I don't know. A lot of Nigerian women are not British-born Nigerian women. The ones I've met, they're actually way more conservative than English or European women in this country. From what I've seen, they're very conservative.
Brother, but let me explain. There's a few. I'm talking. I think even though his comments were atrocious, I think Hish has tiki-toki. He's talking about the majority of black women who are liberal, who support this boss lady mentality. Or am I wrong?
Good evening, everyone.
Hello?
Brother Jersey, am I wrong?
Hey, Don, I'm going to come to you in a second. I think Zulu, Thomas asked Zulu a question, and I'll go to you after they've just finished a little back and forth.
Brother Jersey, am I wrong? He's talking about these women who have weave, fake eyelashes, Wolverine long fingernails, BBL, all this artificial nonsense. He's talking about them, not the good black women. Or am I wrong? Am I wrong, bro? Because on YouTube, that's what even me, I say it. You on Brother Balkan's Balkan Black live stream, you've heard me say it. Me constantly berating these Keishas, right? I'm talking about these Keishas. I never said I never talked shit about a traditional black woman. My criticism has always been about Keishas, and you know what a Keisha is, bro.
Can I respond to that?
Oh, I wanted to answer my. Damn it!
I would have answered it.
Go ahead, Jesse. Then I'm gonna go to Don. I'm gonna go.
Yeah,
to Don.
like what Thomas is saying is in Hizzy Talkies or whatever his name is, his case. I think he's just talking. I think he's generalizing about all women. To be honest,
and that's bad. That is
because
bad.
That's what I think. I think that's.
You're saying most black girls don't look that way, because that's why he said to the white guy, and this is the hierarchy as well. He said to the white guy, "Oh, you would like her." I'm like, what's that supposed to mean? And I'm just like, you know what I mean? So, yeah.
You can't generalize everyone. No,
but
no, you can't.
But there is a responsibility where we talk the way we talk at times. And there's another live stream where. And not only that, it's evidencing, again, look at Kwasi's dating. I know people will say he should date who he wants, but it's the patterns that are being seen, they're trends. And therefore, even though we're saying it's not all, how come every single black guy of note, of prominence, does this, has that pattern, does this trend, speaks like this, doesn't want to be, it seems, associated with his native culture, not just about who he dates, but how his language he speaks. I'd be interested to see what kind of foods he eats at home. Does he eat beans on toast, or would he eat his traditional Ghanaian dishes? I don't know this. But you still, it's everything where it's almost like and this is the question I was going to ask. Do you think he seems like a token black guy? I don't. Again, this is me speculating. I'm not saying anything. But
100% yes. Has anyone seen him with black people in public? I just want
I've got something. Apparently, Dawn Butler, the Labour MP, she said that Kwasi said, "I prefer the company of white people."
Did he say that? Did he really? Oh, no, he did.
No, that's
No, I don't think he would say that, to be honest.
Well, yeah, that's what I thought originally. I thought maybe someone had made that up, but the thing is that you never know, though. Like you never know.
Yeah, and she's also said, a lot of messed up stuff as well in it, though.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. She does seem like the type to lie a little bit, though.
Bro, in that brother Jersey, when did he say that? When did he say that?
What did he say? Hello?
He prefers he only prefers the company of white people.
I never said
that. No, I said that. No, he said it. I think this was like I don't know, like 5. You can Google it. Like you'll see.
If he said that,
apparently, yeah, but yeah, it could be untrue though. Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if he said that, like, that's self-hate. I'm not gonna lie.
Let me go to Don, because how can you put something which is very controversial to me? I'm gonna get you up. I'm gonna get that comment up in a second. Don, welcome, bro. Hope you're doing well. Jump in at any point in regards to the topic.
Yeah. I just find, it's regarding the incident that was reported yesterday pertaining to, West London MP racially abusing Kwasi Kwarteng. And I found what she said to be is quite to be offensive, and she's actually one of my local MPs and all that, and I'm thinking to myself that she could attack the geezer, pertaining to his policies or his actions as an MP and all that, but I just found that. I just found it way out of order, the way she talked about him and his blackness and stuff like that. And I'm thinking to myself that she has a view of black people and all that, and it's sort of like she has. It seems to me that when she thinks of black people, she thinks of Dizzy Rascal, sort of like what I'm trying to say, like.
Well, this is what I want to ask you, because
or stereotypical black people.
This one I want to try and ask this question. Let me ask you then: is it because she thinks you have to be the stereotype, or is it because I don't know how much you know about Kwasi, but he's a guy who, if I was to tell you he speaks European languages, he's trying to speak Arabic, he writes poetry, he went to Cambridge. It's like, it's almost like everything which she's like, oh my, does that make sense? Like, it's like, it doesn't feel like anything of a just a normal, forget stereotypical roadman, normal, if that makes sense. Black person, if that.
I mean, I envy Kwasi Kwarteng because he went to Cambridge and he went to private school and stuff like that. He probably has a fantastic upbringing and stuff like that. Any person would trade places with Kwasi Kwarteng in a heartbeat. But I think that the issue is what I had with it, the way the MP said about Kwasi Kwarteng. It seemed to me as if she has a view of black people, and that is very troubling, to be honest. And I think that it's an issue pertaining to the Labour Party as well. I think the Labour Party, in my opinion, has lost a lot of votes, particularly in England. And I think they see London as a safe zone, to be honest. And to me, it's quite mind blowing. I remember thinking to myself yesterday and all that, I don't think there might be a Labour Prime Minister in my lifetime. To be honest, by the time I'm 50, I don't think there'll be a Labour Prime Minister, because it is so out of touch. And most of the politicians, Labour politicians, they don't take into account that 6 out of 10 of the constituencies voted to leave the European Union, and they're still, dragging their knuckles after people wanted majority of the people want to leave the EU, and there's like 6 out of 10 of the constituencies, Labour constituencies. So I think that Labour Party has adapted identity politics. Labour Party, does not talk about class, class issues that's happening in England or other parts of Britain. And I find it to be quite, disturbing, to be honest, when you have, politicians who are constantly engaging in racialized politics and all that, whether it could be Diane Abbott's, or the one in Northwest London, or the one, the one kneeling. It's quite troubling, to be honest. And I think that it seems to me that, Labour Party, for me, is a party that creates divisions. It's the incident happened in Leicester as well. It's also a Labour constituency.
Yeah, but Don, let me ask you this question, because I hear this, but I'm like, Conservatives have been in power since 2010.
Yes.
Here's what's happened. Food banks rise. We've had crashes. We've had, look what's happening over. I mean, I understand what you're saying about Labour, but they're not in power. Conservatives are in power.
Yes.
So I'm like, there's no way near, I'll be honest with you, I can see Conservatives getting through this next general election. I can't see it, regardless of how bad you think Labour is. I can't see it, because they are responsible for what's going on in the country so far. Now, for those people who seem to be immune to what's going on, then God bless you. But for most people, I'm telling you, there's going to be a huge backlash against what the Tories have been doing. In this nation.
And I agree. A lot of people are not happy about them. But the thing is, if Labour and Conservative were competing in a general election, Conservatives are more redeemable. Because, a lot of people...
they've got a track record, bro, which is horrendous at the moment, bro.
I do understand that. But the thing is, there are lesser of good evils, right? Lesser evils, basically. The lesser evil is, support the Conservative Party, because the Labour Party is a party that is engaged in identity politics.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't like identity politics.
All right, well, I have to agree to disagree on this point. Well, again, we'll see in a sec, because Labour are 17 points up on Conservatives, but we'll see. You could be right. We'll see. There was a question. There's a question I was going to ask about this, which I want to just the perception of Black culture. Going back to that again. Oh, one sec, Shah. Here you go, my bro.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, how's it going? I don't know how much you caught of the stream at all.
Yeah, I just want to add on to, what you guys said. It is true. When it comes to politics and stuff like that, Black people and, globally, they have to, be aware of, their community and start, gatekeeping a culture. It doesn't matter if it's a non-monolithic or monolithic or whatever you say that word, but you should think of yourselves as an own group, instead of just dividing,
Shaw, you're breaking up a little bit, bro. Hello?
Brother, let me ask you.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Right, now I can hear you, bro. One second, Thomas. Go ahead, bro. Finish your last point. What did you just say? You cut off a little bit. Shaw, did you hear me? You cut off your last little bit. What did you say?
Yeah, what I was trying to say is that, if you're a Black person in any area or land, you have to think of yourselves more as a one group, as opposed to something that is monolithic or non-monolithic. Because when you create a division amongst each other, you're just going to create more financial and stuff like that.
Bro, you're breaking up, bro. You're breaking up. Who wanted to jump in? I think Jesse, you messaged me. You wanted to jump in. Sorry, you're breaking up, bro. You're really breaking up. Let me just.
Can I quickly say something? Go on, sorry. Go on.
Basically, I think it was Angleton wanted to know about what stories I've heard regarding mixed people who are anti-Black. I've been through, for example,
why there is.
Go ahead.
Yeah, like I've experienced, especially quite a lot in the dating thing, because like where, like, for example, I remember there was this light skinned girl and she was half black, half white, right? And I'm basically mixed, but I'm black. It's my mix is weird, right? If you see a picture of me on Twitter and whatever, or on TikTok or Instagram, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I'm basically identify as black mixed. But basically, what I find very like, I remember once where I dated this chick, right? And basically, she liked me, and basically we ended up kissing or whatever. But this was before she told me that I don't date black guys, right? And at first I thought I was cool with that, because at first I thought, right, she's just stating a preference. And then I realized that it was just anti-black, because she said, oh, my mother told me I shouldn't date black guys because of such and such reason. But she's part black herself, right? I remember having to deal with that. I remember another time where there was this mixed person, right? And basically she said, I remember she was like really gorgeous looking light skinned chick, and she basically said to me, yeah, and she's part white, part black, right? She basically said to me, oh, I only date white guys because I can't trust black guys, and black guys are not good for me.
Her mom was white, yeah?
Yeah.
So don't you find it funny that she was sleeping with a black guy? She was sleeping with a black guy, but she had these views. What does that say about the brother's judgment and long-term thinking? If he's willing to bust nuts and a woman of these type of women of viewpoints like this, what does that say about him?
No, but it's the daughter. It was the daughter that gathered that mindset from the mother. And yeah, I agree. And this happened. This has happened on a few occasions in my life. And then as soon as I hear that stuff, I immediately just back away from them, because I have self-respect.
Good.
I have self-respect, because she was opening up her legs and she was like ready to do it, and I said and she was basically give it to me. I was like, no, I can't have it, bro. I can't deal with you, because what if, for example, we get in a serious thing, yeah, and then we get into a serious relationship and we have kids and all of that shit, yeah. I didn't tell her that, but this is what I was thinking. What happens if I bring out another mixed kid, yeah? Another mixed kid comes out, right? And you start giving this child, or you start indoctrinating this child with this type of mentality and saying black men are this and black men are that. That's why I can't deal with shit. That's why I can't deal with certain
you're betting a lot of black men, they would have just did what they
did
and not even care about the consequences.
Right. And the other thing as well, yeah, is, look, don't get me twisted. For example, on the other side, I have criticisms of black women, right? But I'm not gonna go around saying that, oh, I'm never gonna date a black woman. Do you get what I'm saying? When I mean a lot of black women have put me through hell, right? One almost got me killed because I rejected her. Yeah. Real talks, because I just rejected a black chick, dark-skinned black chick, because I liked, and then there was another black chick that basically was racist towards a white chick, but she basically lied to one of the loves of my life, saying that I cheated on her, made fake propaganda on me. And then because we were close, because that same black chick was close friends with the white girl I was with, we basically ended up breaking up. And then I found there's a lot of stress, but I'm not gonna go around with the same energy and go around to start dissing black chicks or saying bad things about black chicks because they put me through wrong, because I know not every black woman is bad. That's why I don't like when I hear sometimes low-key certain preferences. You gotta peep how women and men, how they project and give you a reason why they don't like certain types of groups. You got to really peep how they say it, because they will just low-key, they will try and use, oh, it's just a preference as prejudice, basically. And I've been through it. I've been through it enough. Those are two examples right there. So that's all I got to really say about that. Those are the stories.
Bro, can I add on to that what you just said, bro? Sorry, brother Don. Sorry. Bro, sorry you have to experience that, bro. I've experienced that myself. Let me ask you this, bro. What's your preference? Do you want to marry a black woman, right?
But yeah, 100%. My preference.
My man.
Let me specify for you. You want a traditional black woman, correct?
100%.
That's what. See. I think. See, brother Wim. I guarantee every brother here has had negative experiences with black women, but we, as well as me, yeah. But the black women that we've dealt with were liberal. We want conservative black women, like for example, the chick from GBN, you know, Mercy
Morocco.
Mercy.
Do you know she's a single mother at 18? Do you know she's a single mother at like 16?
Yeah, she's a single mother.
I'm so. Oh wow, then she's not conservative. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
She is though. She aligns conservative though, so she could change. She has changed, but I'm just saying she was a single mother.
The thing is, she's the perfect sister, bro. If she wasn't a single mother, man.
But would you have the same views if she was overweight or wearing? Would you have the same views about her?
Nah, bro. The thing is, I see. The thing is with me, yeah. I want traditional women. I don't want a modern woman who's liberal, because I wasn't raised like that. I was raised in a traditional household. My mother's is a hardcore conservative woman.
You're Nigerian, right?
Yeah. So it's natural. It'll be natural. I hear feedback. Sorry,
yeah, you got a little bit of feedback going on. I don't know what it is, bro, but you think you got a little bit of feedback.
Yeah, it'll be natural. Sorry, bro. Sorry, it'll be natural for me. It'll be natural for me to only go for traditional women. But go on, brother Don. Go on.
Okay, I was going to say that with regards to the mixed race, woman, would say she doesn't date black men and all that, and and then she would refer to her mum saying, her mum said she can't date black men and all that. I think it's a bit. I think what it tells me is that that there's something wrong with her mum as well as her dad and all that, and I think that mixed race people, they should be comfortable with both of their identities. You know what I mean? So yeah, so it's just a bit mad, really, to be honest.
You know what it is, though? At least to my point I made before about how maybe the reason why that's the case is because they don't see black as being something to be proud of, and therefore to aspire to at least keeping a hold of their identity, whether it be half Ghanaian, half Nigerian, half Jamaican, Trini, Grenadian, whatever it is. They don't feel as though that is in the hierarchy of their family. They don't feel it that way. And why would they? Think about it. If they've seen their father, I think you come off mute again. I think they've probably seen in their lifetime a father who's dated out, again, culturally more in tune to maybe a white person, probably goes down to the pub every single Friday night, Saturday night, like a white. I know stereotypes, I know what is black, but you get the picture. And it's just like, maybe they see it as, well, if you've bettered yourself by marrying out and doing this, why would I lessen myself by going black? Does that make sense?
I understand it, but the thing is, that's the wrong mentality, isn't it?
I agree, but that's what they see.
If a person wants, if a person is going with a woman who's from a different ethnicity or different racial background, all that, and they have an offspring, then they should instill in that offspring, confidence, as well as being proud of their, dual heritage and all that. You know what I mean? And it's just a bit messed up, really, to be honest. If you have, mixed race person choosing one heritage over the other, you know what I'm trying to say? It's just, I just find it bizarre, to be honest. Even when I was a teenager, hearing about, you have, let's just say a person who's biracial and he would embrace only one part of his heritage instead of embracing both of them. You know what I mean? It's just mind blowing, to be honest.
I've got a quick question for the panel. Yeah, tell me if I'm crazy. Yeah, because I've got to jet off soon. But I'll say great stream with this is great. But I just want to say, tell me if my mentality is wrong. Yeah, and I won't be offended. Yeah, I go out and I just say, listen, I'm in an environment where I know I'm not really liked. People that look like me aren't really liked. A lot of people are trained to not like us, including people that look like us. I go about my business. I realize the environment I'm in. I show no ill will towards other groups. I actually respect South Asians quite a bit for the way they operate. I wish we had some things that they do, right? And I just go about my business to work, to earn and learn, and try to get out of the country as much as possible, invest overseas in prominently black countries, and just, with my black partner, and just move forward and realize, I'm never going to get that hug. I don't even look at other races of women, not be racist or anything. I just don't see them as my women. I have no claim to them. They don't want me. They don't want me for anything serious. Why, if black women don't really want us for long-term relationships, a sizable proportion in the UK, why the hell would other groups of women want you? Let's be real. And I just go about my business. Is my mentality, am I crazy for thinking this way, or?
I mean, it might be a mentality thing, isn't it? Like, think about it. Many women perhaps want to just have, an NSA instead of having a long relationship and all that. Perhaps it's a generational thing or societal thing. I don't think it's not necessarily, only, linked to just ethnicities and stuff like that.
Wait, sorry to interrupt. I just want to ask you, you're East African, right?
Yeah.
So, let me just tell you something. I've been around East African women, and a lot of them, some of them, they seem to be thinking like, they're Arab. And this is coming from personal experience, dealing with them. Most of them seem to see themselves as Arabs as opposed to actually being black, and it's something that I quite noticed because phenotypically Somalis, Ethiopians, and Sudanese, like their phenotype is actually much closer to that of a Middle Easterner as opposed to someone who's Black, African American, and Caribbean.
Well, Africa's a diverse continent, isn't it?
No, but I don't believe that theory that all blacks came from Africa. If you go back and go to countries in Australia, you can see that the Aboriginal people there have been there for as long as 60,000 years. So that whole theory that all blacks are from Africa should be debunked.
Yeah. I never heard a Somali person call himself Arab.
I have.
In
I've
fact,
heard it
most
loads
Somalis
of
I
times.
come across, they would say they're not Arab.
I've heard that loads of times. It's a known thing. And it's a known thing that
but majority of them, they would say no.
They
They would say
opt
no.
in and out of blackness when it's convenient.
No, they say some very racist things, bro. I'll tell you something. I've been in a fight with Somalis. Most of them are very skinny. I'm just being honest. Like they have little I'm not trying to say all of them, but a lot of them seem to be talking off their ass as opposed to actually doing stuff. And I'm telling you, they're in terms of economic deprivation and social economic hierarchy, they're bottom. I'd say they're lower than blacks, and it's because a lot of them most of them come from single mother households. They're raised by in apartment complexes and duplexes where the father isn't usually around, and the mother has been not been taking proper care. Because I've seen some Somali gangs in downtown Toronto and even some parts of the United States, and most of them are just complete wackos. A lot of them don't last a whole 9 yards with foundational Black Americans.
Yeah, I think that Somalis who see themselves Arab. First of all, Arab and Black are not two different things. You can be Black and Arab. You know what I mean?
No, you can't. No, no. In the system of white supremacy, by optics, yeah, you can be considered to be Black or African, but at the end of the day, Arabs are just as racist as whites. I'm being honest. They have that same whole, like, white superior complexity, which most Somalis.
But brother, if you're going to be like technical and all that, the real Arabs were from the Arabian Gulf, right? So they're not from Lebanon or Syria or the North African region. All that. They came from the Arabian Peninsula.
I mean, I would quite disagree
I
with
see
that,
as a cultural.
No, because if you look at most North Africans, like Moroccans and stuff like that, they're not really Arabs. They're Spaniards mixed with some black in them. They're not really Arabs like that. When you're classifying someone who's Arab, you're basically talking about someone that's like in that Iraq, Turkey, that Middle East,
right? Linguistics.
Yeah.
They share a language. That's why they call themselves Arabs. Yeah. So I hear somebody saying that they're Arab and all that, but majority of them they'll say no because they don't know how to speak Arabic.
Yeah. Wait, Jesse, are you listening? I have some words to share with you, bro.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm listening.
Yeah. I first heard about you from.
All right, sure. So I feel as if we're going way off topic. So
no, I'm not trying to go. No, I'm not trying to go off topic. I'm just gonna share my last words before I sign out.
Okay.
So I first heard of you from IBS Big More and O'Shea Vlogcast. I don't watch their videos anymore. I actually unsubscribed because I think they're quite controversial. But I just want to say that I can definitely relate to you. I know I'm not autistic. I don't consider myself to be autistic. I do tend to think that I'm a high functioning sociopath and stuff, but I haven't done anything bad to people. I haven't did any harm to anyone or anything like that. It's just I've always been that introvert, but I respect the autism workshops you've been doing and all these organizations to raise awareness, because it is a serious issue that most public school systems and high school education curriculum systems don't talk about. They just let it slide off, and they always let that one black socially awkward kid be teased and bullied by their counter peers.
I appreciate that, man, but I just want to make it quick. Regarding that, I don't think it's changing anytime soon. When I did try to create change in autism and so forth, for me, I'm with the NHS right now, and I'm just about creating solutions for this disabled people. Because the thing is when it comes to the black community and autism, it's very problematic. I've had so many problems to the point where I just had to walk away and just do my own thing, really. But I appreciate the word, though.
And regarding that, I've been practicing
I don't want to cut in, but I don't want to go too off topic. I just thought let me let you out, but I'm sure you Jesse can definitely reconnect. I appreciate you coming on the stream. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll email you, Jesse, man. One day we'll have a live stream or something.
I'm gonna have my own YouTube channel soon, so if not, we can do a collab or a live stream one day, man. It ain't gonna be a big issue, but Wim's got to do his thing. You know what I mean?
Well, we got.
Bye, guys.
Take it easy, bro. Take it easy, bro.
Take care, man.
Now, let me jump to this then, because this was going through the chat earlier on. I want to ask this question. Is Kwasi I suppose, two-part question. Is it a good look for us? And would you consider him winning in life?
Yes, he's definitely winning.
Is it a good look for us? So is Kwasi Kwarteng a good look for black men?
I would say yes.
Okay.
Exposure is so important. Without exposure, you can't change the mindset of people. So definitely.
Yeah, I would say prior to even this position, not that I'm conservative or Labour, but I'd say whenever I've seen the black ones more on the conservative side, him, Bim Afalami, etc., I've always kind of liked the way they carry themselves, and I think that they do sort of give good sort of image of men of color.
Okay, Zulia, I want to ask you this question. How do you see, bro?
I disagree. I think he should never have taken the job. I don't rate his intellect, regardless of his memory test, not to the degree that he did, that didn't require much problem solving. I think Sunak has a higher IQ than him. I think if he was really clever, he should have looked at the fact that a guy as smart as Sunak, with his culture, which is naturally adept at money and a merchant group of people, walked away from a job. That should have been a good indication that this job wasn't for taking. I think he's going to be fired. I think that he has been seen as a token hire and has scarred any image of the idea, the concept of a black being intelligent in the UK. I wish he had a wife that was actually African, and I wish that he would actually affiliate more with other blacks in the UK, which he hasn't done. So all in all, I wish he never took the job, and he just cemented the ethnic stereotype of an ethnic minority in the Conservative Party of basically being a token hire or someone that's been hired for representation purposes as opposed to ability, and had to sell his soul, his culture, his nativism in order to fit in and be tolerated. Because in environments like that, the only way you get to be tolerated is if you subscribe to the unwritten rule, which is you are fundamentally inferior, and therefore it is a privilege to be around us. I've been in circles like this, and there's an unwritten rule, is that you need to know your place and know that we are better than you, and that is a privilege to be among us.
Mic drop, mic drop. Damn. I mean, whoa. So he's just telling me there's no redeeming qualities about this guy. Goes to Cambridge. I think he got a first thing at Cambridge. He, all his accolades, all his historic, all his achievements. Which, let's be honest, by any measurement, forget race, not even white people do this. You know what I'm saying? This is unique for white people, let alone anyone. So, would you not? Is there any redeeming qualities, Julia?
I'll be honest. I just see someone that's went through a lot of indoctrination. Nothing more.
Wow. Bro, right. Not even one redeeming quality.
He's tall. That's great.
Lord.
Come on, man. Bro, he's an intellectual brother who promotes a positive image.
Oh, is it? I've gone to the Daily Mail comment section, my man. Go on to the Daily Mail comment section, the most popular newspaper in the UK. I want you to read the comments. You're going to see, and these are a little bit of Monkey, Kwasi Natal, the South African thing. These guys are crap at managing money. He's educated, but he's not intelligent. Where did he get his degree from? How did he get this job? Diversity hire, or the old man?
Hold on a second.
It's the most common newspaper in the UK. If that's the case, that means the majority of people in the UK are like that. You have to understand, if you want to see what real people are really like, what they really believe, you do it in a place where they can have anonymity. Then you get the closest barometer of how people really are. If you guys really believe everything you see, has it been censored, has it been filtered, has it been doctored in any way, and you believe the way that it's presented is the most authentic representation of how things are, you guys are crazy.
No, I get you. No, hold on, bro. I get you, brother Jesse. I get you. But okay. Let me ask you this: in your opinion, what would be a good example of a good black man who's doing the right thing?
Okay, so I say someone a bit like that guy, Dinah Samir, the YouTuber Dinah Samir. I'd say Wadi Maya does some pretty good things. I think there's a Nigerian British guy called Frank Lean. I respect a lot. Franklin in the UK, lives in Leeds, Nigerian guy.
Yeah, Franklin.
Yeah. I rate him very highly. Yeah, I rate him very highly, and I agree with him on a lot of things. I think it's fantastic. Yeah. So those guys I rate highly.
Any
those
MPs,
guys
bro? Any ones on that kind of ilk?
MPs in the UK.
Well, just
none.
No, even Sean Bailey, bro.
Oh, no. His wife. Let's not get started on what his wife looks like.
Oh, bro, come on, man.
not based on that. Not based on that, but even physically, man. I ain't that. Nah, man. Nah, I'm not.
Physically, bro. Bro, what's that mean? What's it gonna do? What do you mean?
Bro, you got to type in Sean Bailey's wife. Just look at her.
His wife.
Man, if you, bro, man, nah, man. You don't work so hard to cover politics, escape the hood, and all this stuff, and then nah. Man.
Zulia, what about if let's say that, look, the pound has been tanking for like the last year and a half. If this is like 2018 and the pound wasn't tanking, do you think you'd change your mind about Kwasi? Because he hasn't really done anything. It's literally been 2 weeks since he announced this.
And look what he's done. How could he support a bailout for the massive energy hike, which is going to cost so much money, yeah? And then you say we're going to chop the top rate of tax. My man, where the money going to come from? Are you going to try and use borrowed money to borrow more money? You never use money you don't have to try and get more money. This guy's crazy, right? The stamp duty thing that jacked up house prices so much into a short period of time. Sunak got blamed for that, and he only did it for a short period of time. And now my man wants to do it again. Like that never happened. That didn't cause the market to overheat, right? So he's doing stuff that is crazy, right? And so in a short period of time, that budget was crazy. It doesn't make any sense. It was insane.
The thing is, I agree with you, brother DLC. I only told myself, yeah, brother Kwasi, he's successful, but this is politics, and give it a matter of time, he's gonna get slandered. Well, I was right, and yeah, I watched LBC, and it's just oof. I didn't stop watching LBC, man. That James O'Brien guy, man, he's just.
All right. What about Nick Ferrari? You like him?
Yeah, he's too much, man. I stopped listening to. That's why I listened to GBN, bro. I stopped listening to other people like other platforms like Good Morning Britain News. I'm like, these people they don't know what they're talking about. So that's why you know the news. Yeah, sometimes they misinform you. Sometimes, man. I just go to places where I want facts over false information.
Someone said that he banged Liz Truss in the past. That's how he got the job.
I've heard that credible rumor. I've heard that credible rumor. Serious. I've heard that. I'm telling you, bro, that will come out soon properly if things are going the way it's going right now.
So this Truss been watching Black.com, yeah? All right, cool.
Hold on, isn't it Liz Truss who had an affair and the husband took her back and he's like the house husband?
Yeah, she's on a cut husband as well, and he likes blondes, so hey. Whew.
But the thing is, yeah, like, I'm not gonna lie, bro, you see, for me, yeah, hey, JLC, I'm gonna be honest with you, yeah. Yes, I would choose a black woman over. Yeah, you know what? You know me, yeah, and you know, brothers. Yes. As much as I love Asian women, in terms of marriage, yes, I'll choose a black woman first. That's what I want over all of the ethnic groups, because I know they age well. That's the thing. I don't want my wife looking like a zombie in the next 10, 15 years. Like, that's why when it goes to a white woman, I'm not gonna marry her because I know white women age like milk. So, but that's just me, bro. Yeah, that's just me, bro.
Can I quickly also?
Go ahead, Anderson. Go ahead.
No, it's only quick. What do you guys think about Kemi Badenoch?
I think she's all right. She's a cool sister, but yeah, I don't think she was suitable for the premiership. I think that job would have been too big for her. And I think she would have been slandered far worse than brother Kwasi. But I think she's all right.
We haven't heard of regarding Kemi, for me, I think she's just a no-nonsense person who just states the facts and just stops emotion, and she's got a good bunda.
But I heard some black men, yeah, and black women say, she's a white girl, yeah, because look at her husband. Her husband's white. They say the same thing about Candace Owens. Oh, she married the slave master. I'm like, what is wrong with these people? Dude, why do you care about their dating preferences?
It's pattern recognition a little bit, and I get it in isolation. But then sometimes it's a bit like pattern recognition. We're like, oh gosh, and this is where I was asking about, is he winning? Because it's like it's a thing where, like, to win in life, it's to sound white, it's to act white, it's to sleep white, it's to be. You see what I mean? Where it's like the pattern. It's like, I know people get angry with what's black, but it's like we do know there's cultural traits that exist in our peoples which just scream, all right, you identify this way, and it's like. It's everything combined. It's crazy. That's why it's like, is winning nowadays, especially in the UK, bro, all these things.
No, that's what I've realized, bro. Like every conservative, every black MP who's conservative, they're not married. They're not married to the same race. I'm like, this is a pattern. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Not even what's that other brother's name? He's Labour. What's his name?
Which one? David Lammy.
Yes,
David
him.
Lammy.
He's married to a white woman, and I'm like, bro.
And the thing is like the alternative is be successful as a black guy, which is like the stereotype. It's like, oh, this is what I mean. Where like, are we stuck in a rock and a hard place because of that fact?
See, the thing is, yeah, if I was a politician, yeah, like I see their wives, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, your wives, they've crashed into the wall, man. They hit the wall badly. They're like in their 30s and they look 60. I'm like, nah, bruv. If I'm a politician, if I was prime minister, I want my wife to look very young. So I'm gonna try my best to find a traditional black woman.
But is it an acceptance thing, Thomas? Is it a thing where it's the proper thing to do to marry a woman who looks like that because it fits in? This is what I mean by fitting in, the token. Fit in.
So no, I understand that, bro. But I care about me first. Like,
oh, bro.
Like for me, yeah, like exactly. If I want to inspire, if I was prime minister, yeah, I want brothers to be inspired. So what the best thing? Look, I'm gonna do what Obama did. The best thing for me is to not fit in. It's to give out a good image. Like I'm a successful black man, and my queen is a sister who's conservative. I don't care about fitting in. That's the best thing for me because it's my duty to provide a good representation of black people. And me being in a position of power, that would be a great opportunity for me to do that. But I don't see Brother Kwasi doing that.
But do you know what I think? Do you know what I think it is? Do you know when you're trying to when you're part of a system, you have to do what the system dictates you to do to get, because let's be honest, to get into UK politics, you have to do a lot of ass kissing and a lot of things, I'm assuming, which, you know, you have to fit in. So I think it's all part of the package deal. Let me go to J2 Day because I know you've been trying to get in. So
brother, hold on, JLC. Oh, sorry.
I'm gonna go to J2 Day. Do you want to finish up, Thomas? Then I'm gonna go to J2 Day.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, brother. And this is all the other brothers. This is all brothers on the panel. Yeah. If you are prime minister, yeah, would you marry? Would your wife be black, white, or other? Let's say for example today I'm prime minister, and you have to choose your wife. What race would she be? Because I know I want my wife to be a black woman, but I want your answers, brothers.
I'll answer it quick. I'll answer it brief. All I got to say is there's two things. First, does she make it rise? And then two, is she a good woman? That's it. Done. I don't care about race, bruv. That's
let's assume to your 2 points. Yes, I assume Thomas to those 2 points. Thomas, you mean it's a yes for you, right? She's gonna be attractive and she's gonna be cooperative and that kind of other stuff.
She's
a good woman. That's all that matters.
Yeah, she's conservative. Is she gonna be black, white, Asian, Latino, Middle Eastern? Who's gonna choose, brothers? Because it's your duty. You have to be. I want to be like Obama. Give out a good image of black men.
Me personally, I prefer mixed race women.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it'd be easy. It'd be a black woman.
What about you, brother JLC?
Yeah, man. Of course, knowing what I know about the hierarchy of humanity and the psychological damage that our people go through living in this system, globally, this hierarchy, I don't want to enforce it in any way. And I feel that would just contribute to the fact that this is a quote-unquote powerful black person who quote-unquote has made it to the top of the mountain. And by his side is his beautiful non-black queen.
J2, let me get you in on this one. Sorry, because I want to make sure that you have your speaking time. So go ahead, bro. The floor is yours.
Well, to be honest, this is going to be controversial, but my preference is Middle Eastern or Pakistani. And for me, it's not even about race. It's just about imprint. I think that's one thing we're also forgetting about Kwasi. He's grown up in, I guess, private school where you don't get many black people in general. So that's your imprint. That's literally what you've grown up, and that has a powerful psychological effect on you, whether you like it or not. So for me, my earliest imprint was South Asian women. So that's the area I grew up in initially. So yeah, that's my preference.
How did that happen? Which part of the UK did you have that experience in?
So it's down near like Bedfordshire. Sorry, my battery's about to run out.
Oh yeah, that place
Yeah,
is near Luton. It's full of Pakistanis,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. So for me, that's literally what my brain imprinted on. I think it has a very powerful effect. Like around age 10, like there's a very strong psychological effect, that imprint. So
You got touched at 10?
no. I got imprinted on in terms of that's the kind of girls that was around me, like South Asian, Middle Eastern. Those are the kind of girls around me. So that's what
do
I
those
prefer.
girls want you though? Because like those types of women tend to be very, well, not all of them obviously, but they're very sort of anti-black.
When I've interacted with them, I guess it depends on the city. Like when I was in Birmingham, for example, there's a very large percentage of there's a strong Asian community up in Birmingham,
Yeah.
and I did get positive responses, but there is that kind of distance. I know what you mean. It's like it's not a normal thing in that culture. I could see the distance, but it's just something that I can't necessarily help. That's what I prefer. But to be honest, I'm open to all races, and I rarely see black women where I live or where I've lived. So it's kind of hard for me to date a black woman. So it's mostly white people who I've dated.
And to be fair, you raise a good point, and that is fair. We've not really talked about this. Well, actually, we have in a sort of way about, again, his cultural expression is going to be based around, and I made a point about his, how was up raised, where he was, not his fault, what school he went to, who he interacted with. So that will have a huge part to say about. Forget about dating for a second, just his expression and his outlook to things, which has a deep.
Yeah, but.
So go ahead, Uncle Ted. You wanted to say something?
No, sorry, I was talking to someone else. I thought my mic was off.
Oh, okay. But no, I suppose that does have a massive effect in how you especially if you have luck early. If you're one of them people who've had luck with a certain group early when you're young, you tend to gonna gravitate to that person. It's just that group. It's natural, isn't it? I know certain black guys who've got, again, white women love them. Therefore, you ask them the question, well, it's gonna be white women or whoever it is, because they've had that joy with white women over whatever women. So it is what it is.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, bro. But some of these critics, they'll see like, oh, but isn't your mother black? Isn't your sister black? So how you gonna love another race of women that's not your own?
Why not?
Yeah, I get you, bro. No, I understand.
My thing is always this. It's always, if you articulate like J2 Day said, that's different. Where I draw the line is where it's articulated in a way where, because I always get this, and I don't like how it's presented. Oh, I only care about character. I'm like, well, so are you trying to say that black women don't have this character traits that you're looking for? It's always propositioned in a way that makes it seem like you're doing it because of a lack of, as opposed to, you know what, we just met each other, we just clicked, we're cool, that's it. Yeah, that's how I say you're not hating yourself, you're not hating anyone else, you're just doing it. Whether I agree with it or not is irrelevant. But I hate when people have that backhanded way of saying, well, you know what I mean, I only care about this. I'm like, well, are you trying to say that you don't care about this if you date a black girl? I mean, what kind of idiot would date somebody who's black and she has all these horrible character traits? That's just a fool.
Brother,
that's how it comes across.
The reason why they're generalizing because of their negative experiences with liberal black women, who have this modern mentality. I tell brothers, hey, I understand they want black women, brother. I know these brothers who constantly bash black women. They want conservative black women, but they can't find it, bro. So that's why they venture to other races of women. It's that negative experience, and it's I kind of see it as trauma. It is trauma for them, bro.
I mean, again, someone in the chat did say this, and I know people may not like this, but there is a massive issue with, again, it's back to black culture. Again, back to the comment of where Kwasi was being deemed as being superficially black. Again, on a real level, they see black culture as being lesser than anything else. So why else would you say that? Why else would you utter something like that? It's crazy. It's crazy. So there is that. That's the reason why I have these sort of images of ourselves. And I think it's because right now at the moment, probably agree or disagree if you want to, that we need to have like a real powerful either African nation or Caribbean nation or something of very vast respect that's respected not by us but by other people as well. I don't know if that's the key, but
yeah, you're right. You're right. I said before, man. I think someone said it before. You know, the only way to gain respect, for the most part, is tied into fear. I don't think people just respect people out of just a good. Well, we do because we're so beaten down, and we think getting abused is a form of love, probably as a group of people. But like, you know, you have to have something that people could fear, and then you get respect. I know a lot of people don't like East Asians very much. They've gone through a fair bit of negative press historically with the yellow peril and all this, building train roads in America and Japs and all these other fish heads and other racist words into this. But would they say it to them face now? Would they piss off Chinese people en masse now? The West, they wouldn't dare, because the China would kill them economically. So like in reality, if you want to talk about which group of non-black people have really moved up the social hierarchy, I'd say East Asians. Okay, Japanese were always highly ranked, and in the apartheid system they were seen as honorary white. I get that. And the Japanese allied with the okay, I get that. But I'm talking about Chinese people. Like, they've really done but they have a really strong culture. Even before the Europeans.
They don't have the same plight as blacks, though. Like, when you look historically at all the shit that blacks have to deal with. I'm not trying to do the victimhood thing, but what I'm saying is just facts. Like,
but why?
Obviously, why what?
Why did we get affected so badly and the Chinese didn't?
Well, I think that's very complicated, and that's probably time for a whole other discussion. But that is complicated.
Don't get me started on the Chinese, man. Oh my goodness, the Chinese, they're fucking racist towards black people, man. Extremely racist. Even in the work, bruv. In China, yeah, they don't give a fuck. I watched. There's one documentary I watched regarding one beautiful half black, half Chinese woman, yeah. And do you know what they said to this chick? You would have been perfect if you were half white. That right there fucking infuriated me. You can, brothers, type it in. Vice. It's a Vice documentary. China.
I told you about it, bruv. I told Falcon about it, and then he put it on his website. It's Vice Asia. I told you about that.
Wasn't that the Japanese one?
No, there was no Japanese one. It was China.
It was China. China.
Okay.
China's, as I said, out of all the countries, like, I love Japan, but China, I will never go to China. Fucking
the funny thing, they're coming to you, bro. The way they're taking over. Okay, their economy slowed down a fair bit, but still, China and the USA, they're way ahead of everyone else when it comes down to GDP and the global influence, man. They're coming. We're fucked, man. We are so screwed.
I know, man. Like,
we are fucked.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I was on one live stream, yeah, and I remember I was doing reaction videos with one particular YouTuber. We reacted to one Chinese model. Guess what she did? She did blackface. She didn't give a fuck. I'm like, what nonsense is this? Brothers, do you remember there was this Chinese advert where one brother, yeah, he was with his Chinese woman, yeah, and she carried him, put him in a dry cleaner, a laundry, washing machine, whatever, yeah, and he came out Chinese.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, washed in white as snow, washed in white as Chinese. Yeah, I saw that.
What the fuck was that all about, man? See, that's what I said. I fucking hate China.
And Star Wars.
Yeah,
John Boyega.
Well. John
They
Mayer.
removed, yeah, they made him smaller on the theater poster. They made him very, very small, like very small, like at the background of the photo. Yeah, we're screwed, man, brothers. We this is a state of emergency, man. We're in deep, deep trouble globally, man. It is bad. And I say bad, it is bad. I can't think of any positive thing for us as a group of people. I really don't. And I'm talking about the UK specifically. We've got a lot of Hong Kongers coming over as well, by the way. So
Yeah,
that's
that's
another
true.
issue we've got to deal with. They're not going to be coming here with a positive anti-black, and they're stuck up because they're rich. So they love the British and white man even more than mainland China, because obviously the colonization process, and they're here because they didn't like the CCP. We've got to deal
Yeah,
with that.
they suck up to the white man. Crazy.
Yeah, these
We are
Chinese women,
fucked.
yeah, they worship white men. Oh, yeah, I want to get a white man this, white man that. I'm like, fuck, you know. You know what? That actually reminds
Yeah.
me. That actually reminds me. There was one YouTuber, yeah, one South African white man, yeah, who lived in China for 15 years, right? He has a Chinese wife. He talks about the corruption of China and everything, yeah. China really exhibits self-hate, right? So for any brother who wants to go for Chinese women, please don't do it. So I
It's
remember.
funny. Yeah, go on, go on.
I remember it was one advert, yeah, where they were promoting some kind of education business. So who did they use for their like poster person for this particular business? It was a white man. And I just noticed about this. It's called Rent a White Man business in China. Yeah, they'll
like a
go
boyfriend type thing.
Yeah. They'll go for a white person to represent their business, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is complete self-hate. Like, I can't believe this actually happens.
Well, like the other day is I was in this club bar type thing, and I was like standing by the bar, and I see this beautiful female, and like she looked like she was mixed, like half Chinese, half white. I noticed she was like staring at me, so I was thinking, oh, I should go and move her, but then in my mind, I just thought, I bet you she's anti-black. Like, I bet you I could, you could just sort of smell it. So I didn't even approach her. I just thought, fuck this chick. Like, like I just know like what it is, especially when you're dealing with the half ones. Like, because I've
Correct.
experienced it before. They're the worst. Like, especially the ones that are like half white, half Chinese, or half white, half Indian. I've had them try to like embarrass me in front of my white friends and all kind of fuckery. So I didn't even approach her. I approached the black woman instead. But I just thought, forget it. I don't want to deal with you because I know I could have been wrong. You never know. But if you're
There's
like that, I don't want nothing to do with you.
there's one thing that I listen, man. One thing I just never did, and I never do it now, yeah. But I never approached those women. I never gassed up those women. I never initiated contact with those women because it came to the point I realized quite young that you don't want to boost these women's ego. When they expect you, because you're darker than them, they expect you to worship them, to
Yeah,
court them
that
like
as
they're Kate
well.
Middleton. I say, you know
Yeah.
what? Bung this. I ain't going to be doing none of this. If you think I'm not going to gas up your ego, I'm not going to worship you like you're a goddess. I just treat them like any other woman, period. And and I love it. They get shocked. I've seen the look on their face like, how dare you not try to entertain me or court me or make me
Yeah.
feel that I'm better than you? Don't you know that I'm lighter than you? Don't you know that I'm mixed?
Also,
I'm part white.
so bro, are they trying to say that because you're dark skinned, you're lower than me? So is this fucking favoritism nonsense, man. Like there was one, for example, they were doing one documentary on ITV where we were talking about how black women die more times when it comes to childbirth than white women and other races of women. So I remember that one black woman wanted to be the main presenter for this documentary, but ITV were like, "Nah, we don't want you. We were gonna have this mixed race chick."
Oh, Rochelle Hume.
Yeah. We're gonna have her. I'm like, bro. I was like, what the fuck is this? Then it clocked. I'm like, oh, I know. Okay, I see what you're doing, ITV. You're showing your racism again, because when it comes to a mixed race woman, she's half white, so she's more appealing towards white people. But we don't want to have a dark-skinned woman there. No. So I mean, it is what it is, brothers, man. You can't change it.
All right, then. So we're almost hitting the 3-hour mark, people. So I'm going to probably shut this down, if I'll be honest with you, just because we hit. Excuse me. 1 sec.
Shit, COVID.
I've already taken my 4th jab, so I'm all good.
Oh, goddamn. No Rona.
But let me ask you this, Brother Wim.
Go ahead.
Do you think Brother Kwasi is a good image for black men? So let's say, for example, brother, you have a son, right?
Yep.
Do you think Brother Kwasi is a good role model for your son to become? To look
100%. There's, in terms of this, I don't know, I no criminal record. He's educated. He went to top universities. Here's the thing. He is what most parents would want to put their kids through and have the outcomes that they did. And he's second in command, really, let's be honest, or even depending on how you look at it first. Now, there are other aspects which I'm like, okay, maybe I would have thought something different. But ultimately, to answer your question, yes. In terms of what you're looking for, educated, smart, he knows his way around the room, I assume, to get to there. I hear good feedback from his peers about, well, before he's doing his job now. But in that respect, yes. But there are other aspects, to Zuli's point, which I do agree with him on. In which culturally you just think, oh, okay.
I'm just thinking, you're right, but I'm just thinking that in terms of image, him being the chancellor of the exchequer, I want young brothers who to look up to Brother Kwasi. Yeah, just look at just in terms of image and worth ethic. Be like him, all right, but still, maintain the culture.
Yeah, agreed. And there's a question. This is the question I wanted to ask, and this is what I was fearing with Kwasi, because to be the first is always difficult. Now, it looks like things are going just pear-shaped right now. And my thing is this: will he, if things don't go well, is that worse for us had we not had a black person in this role? If that makes sense, in terms of image, in terms of whether, the moment we give black people, this kind of positions, it doesn't work out, do all this kind of stuff. Could that be a bit of a double-edged sword? He has to be perfect.
You're kind of right, bro, because let's look over in the US. Obama. I think it will be I think it kind of will be a one in done thing. Hopefully that's not the case.
Okay.
Hopefully I'm wrong. But I think and feel that's going to be the situation. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah,
they say that the reason why Obama was elected was the only reason why they got a black man elected was to deal with the financial crisis. So even that was racist. Like,
yes,
yeah,
I agree.
I believe that. Yeah, I noticed they even fucked up his speech. When they give the president's speech, out of all the other speeches, they seem to have gone smoothly. And then when Obama's one went up, they fucked it. Like, they didn't say it properly, and then he sort of fucked it up. I don't know.
and you know what? Look at the way they just bashed Michelle Obama compared to what's Trump's wife called again? Melania. Yeah. Look what the newspapers like. Oh, Obama, Michelle Obama's loud and aggressive, whereas Melania's sweet and kind-hearted. I'm like, what is this bullshit? Complete bullshit. Now, Michelle was never like that. In her interviews and public appearance, she was noble. Michelle Obama should be the prime image of what black women should be, not this Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion nonsense.
And think about this as well. To your point, Thomas, you raised a good point. They met at law school in Harvard, so she was a smart woman. Whereas if you look at Melania Trump, she's a model, former model and businesswoman. Now, again,
thank you, brother. Thank you. Exactly. You
Yeah,
have
Michelle was smarter than Barack.
yeah. But thank you. They met in law school, so that right there is beautiful. And you know what, brother? She was there with him from the beginning.
That's true. That's true.
So why can't you promote Michelle Obama as the symbol of what a black woman should be in the West, rather than this Kim Kardashian, Megan Thee Stallion, boss lady nonsense? You see, this is what this sort of irritates me, brothers, man. It really irritates me. I'm sorry.
And this is where it goes back to Kwasi, and it's, again, this is not knock out all the MPs, and this is where I would love to see. I know people talk about, oh, you know, why do you care about identity politics? But sometimes image representation is key. Like you said, Thomas, you would love to see that black part of that couple again who just meets. Okay, no one's gonna be perfect, but again, you can. The went to maybe go to Cambridge together. The only two black people there, whatever. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the story. But you just don't see that in the UK. In the US, you see loads of that kind of stories, Thomas, loads. But over here, it's like, yeah,
it's non-existent.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Well, brother JLC, I want your opinion on that. What do you think on my talking points?
Yeah, no, I'm agreed. There was this old American guy who's dead, unfortunately, David Cowell, who back in the day I really enjoyed some of his videos. You probably don't know him. And yeah, you make a good point. She would be a good example.
I do know him.
He made a video like why 70% of Black American women are single. 10-minute video, it's still up. And he said, yeah, I mean, look at Michelle Obama. She's someone who, you know, met Barack Obama in law school. She dresses appropriately. She has no kids out of wedlock. She dresses well, and she speaks well. And isn't she a great example? But instead, you want to be like Beyonce, you know, marrying an ex-drug dealer instead of someone like Barack Obama, who speaks his subject-verb agreement, so on and so forth. So yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, you're right. But again, I will say this: the blacks I do see in the UK, who are moving in those high-educated circles, who dress well conservatively, your Kemi Badenoch types, a lot of them are West African descent, bro. A lot of them are. A lot. You know, so there's definitely in London, there's definitely a few Nigerian women out there who are you know, educated, who are traditional, who could cook good food, who wear braids in their hair. I've seen them. I dated, my first girlfriend was one like that.
Yeah, true.
All right. Again, thanks everyone. We pretty much hit that 3-hour mark. Does anyone have any last thoughts before I close down the stream? Again, just for people in my audience, thank you for being on the stream. Please make sure you like the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you are new. Appreciate everyone for tuning in, and appreciate it for all my panel guests who've been on here. But any sort of last closing thoughts before I wrap this up?
Yeah, brothers, all I can say is I love you all. I value you all. I know this society is harsh and mentally tiring. So I'm saying, listen, if you want to have a break, I advise you to pop over to black countries from time to time, just recuperate, just recharge a little bit, get your self-esteem back, get outside the matrix. Even if you have to just leave the West for a couple of weeks at a time, man, because it's very toxic in this country. It's very psychologically and physiologically in some ways damaging to our mental health, all right? And I get it, but you know, if you're going through bad times in life, you're stressed out, you need support, yeah, or you feel undervalued, yeah, you know, come to these live streams, Falcons, yours, IP, you know, it's tough out here, but you know, if you lost everything, like Kwazi's finding out now that he will lose everything, or he'll lose his job, that's for sure, and his status in some ways, you know, and he won't be able to turn to any brothers around him at all because all his friends are white. And that's my last message.
As always,
yeah.
bro. As always, with the real talk, the hard talk, bro. I'm telling you.
Yeah, this was a great live stream. One of your best, actually, bro. And this was I had a lot of fun. Oh, before that, yeah,
that's thanks to you and that's thanks to you, the panelists. I'm telling you. So you know, it's thanks to you lot. Honestly, God.
Yeah. But before I go, let me apologize for my behavior for the other live stream. I apologize for that, man. That was inexcusable. So
that was my fault. That was my bad. I apologize to both of you on that one because it's my fault. But again, it's war under the bridge, in it. So, but no, That's my bad on that one.
Yeah, but thank you, bro. This was a great live stream, and big up all to the brothers who on the panel, and as well as the people who support this live stream. But keep up the great work, brother. Win.
Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. Jesse, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I got final thoughts. Super proud to be a superficial black man because I don't fit the stereotype. So, I'm proud, and also stay out of this. Stay out of the chicken shops. We got to stay healthy, man. We got to stay healthy. You know what I mean?
We can get some baked chicken, bro. We can get some baked chicken.
Yeah, eat the chicken breast, man. Like, stay away from the fried chicken. Kwasi Kwarteng would be able to fit in if he did go to a chicken shop and he was photographed. It would have been all good. The blacks wouldn't have. He would have been called superficially black and all that stuff. You got to fit the stereotype. Probably bang a few drill songs while he's driving his car. But it was a good live stream. I enjoyed it. I had to come on because there was so much I wanted to talk about on here. And yeah, I think Kwasi is a good look for us. It's a shame that he has to go through what he goes through, but the reality with some of us black people is that sometimes some black people have to suffer to make other look has to suffer through certain things so that the black image is better and we look better. So maybe in a few years' time, it may benefit us, and we may gain more respect. Who knows? But I appreciate everyone in the chat and on the panel, and Wim for letting me on. And that's all I got to say.
Oh man, wise, good words, bro. Good words, bro. I like your last thoughts about that. Some of us are gonna have to suffer for things to move forward. But no, appreciate you, Jesse. Appreciate it. Angleton, you want to any final thoughts?
Yeah, very quickly. Tomato color. Just staying forward, read a lot. Try not to be so one-dimensional, because then a lot of the time you sort of fall victim to other ethnicities who tend to be very one-dimensional, sort of cliche, mediocre people themselves who don't know how to think outside the box. They're sort of expecting that they want that. So just try to, dealing with microaggressions in the workplace, education system, all that, sort of learn to deal with it, learn to sort of not be stereotype, just really sort of broaden your perspective. And yeah, I think, there's a lot. I think it doesn't have to be so depressing, the outcome. I think there's a lot of hope as well. But yeah, that's it anyway. Yeah.
Nah, bro, I hear you, bro. I hear you for definite. Don, last but definitely not least, any last thoughts?
I believe that everyone, regardless of ethnicities, have their own autonomy in regards to expressing their own views and opinions and stuff like that. Whether it's from politics, religion, or any aspects, any philosophical aspects. But yeah, I think that people should be judged based on their merits instead of their physical characteristics. I just think that with regards to the image of Kwasi Kwarteng, he's actually a very good example, to be honest. In terms of his achievements and his accolades, he's definitely is a role model and all that. I do definitely agree with that, to be honest.
No, bro, I hear you for definite. But thanks for your thought, Don Osman. Thanks everyone on the panel. Appreciate everyone. Again, please make sure if you're listening on the replay, like the stream, share the stream, subscribe if you are new. And to everybody, stay blessed, stay healthy, and I'll see you on the next one. Until then, we're out of here.